get there. Have you ever been on that?
Yes, many times.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
You know, kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not going to shit can the whole place. I'm just saying my experiences there were like, it's not, you know, if, for me, I just drive a little bit, another hour south and then go to like the Outer Banks and the really pretty beaches down
It's
there.
a lot further than an hour south of there to get to the Outer Banks.
It's actually not that much further. If you don't go to Virginia Beach and then go south, you just don't go to Virginia Beach.
Right.
And it's not that far. I don't know exactly how far it is from actually. Let me get the dream catches.
What is the name of the games? Let's see, Arabian Nights?
Arabian Nights.
And Coca-Tony Wolf.
Coca-Tony Wolf didn't know. Coca-Tony Wolf didn't fare too good.
Yeah. Well, I didn't promote it on social media, so that's my excuse. But the real excuse is maybe nobody cares about Coca-Tony
I think the
Wolf.
big excuse is 4 billion people watched it live.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why I didn't sweat it too much. Holy smokes! What's today?
Look at this. I can play an ad anytime I want. Isn't that crazy?
What's the ad?
I don't know. Let's find out. Get ready. I don't know what that did. Did I hit it again?
Oh, no. See what it says? Based on the complex criteria, some of your viewers will see an ad.
Keep on streaming.
Well, that sucks.
That's weird.
My God, did you see all the stuff? Dream catches released 4 things.
Okay, well, we'll talk about them.
I haven't read any of them.
We're streaming. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, I haven't read them. I'm not going to lie.
And BM Art Acre's here. I missed that guy.
What up, y'all? We back. 201.
The big problem is that, okay, so this is the order that they were released
Agony.
in, right?
It's a good game.
So this one,
Soccer
and
Kid.
then Soccer Kid, and then this one. Was that, yeah, 4 things. Dreamcatch has been on fire.
He's on fire.
Okay, let's talk about, let's see.
Are we doing Spectrum first?
Amigos always first, except for last week, because it was the special.
That's what threw me. That's what threw me. Press play. See, I got it. We got to remember this time to mention the myriad of the plethora of video entertainment that we've been putting out. We never haven't done that for a couple weeks. That is a beard.
Yeah. Did you see that one shot at Amiga Bill just did something with one of the things where you could get your picture with Jay Miner? It was like him with like a cutout for a head like you see at the Renaissance Fair.
Did you watch any of this? I saw
Hold on a second. The school board's calling me.
Uh-oh. Time for that formal beatdown.
No. The spam. Okay.
It's like, Mr. Shaw, we have noticed that you are streaming online drinking. We're coming to your house with the paddle.
There were several of my students that tuned in for episode 200.
Shazam.
I saw them.
What'd they think?
They did not comment to me in person. So.
You know, if even one of your
This
students
show
buys
is,
an Amiga or
yeah,
Spectrum,
this show is so unthinkably boring to all of them. Like they get real excited. They're like, Shaw, somebody told me you had a YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I'm going to go check it out. Then I never hear back from them again.
Yeah.
They see enough, and then they move on. There's Fortnite to watch.
Listen, kids like streaming stuff. They can watch the streaming stuff.
That's true.
Game streaming. Some of those old games are pretty fun and a lot of fun for kids.
Jason, man, welcome. Welcome, welcome. It was so great to see your video and like see you talk. It was cool.
I liked your little video show you put together. That was nice.
I wanted to do something special for those folks that took the trouble. Okay.
Steve, how you feeling this week? Are you getting in the groove now?
I'm feeling a lot better thanks to the old
Sweet
penny.
Sweet lady liquor.
Established 1826. Graham Vebke.
That stuff's strong.
Yeah, man. I was down in Bourbon Country last weekend, Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Saw my grandfather. We went to the family reunion. Let me tell you what happens every year. We go to the family reunion.
It's in Louisville.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people there, none of whom I know. I sit at a picnic table with my immediate family, and then it starts to rain, and we all crowd under the picnic shelter.
You play with your phone, then you get the hell out of there.
That's
you
right.
Can't wait to go.
That's
right.
right.
That's every family reunion we ever had. Don't feel bad. At least you're in Louisville. You're just a few cops that could jump away from some nice clubs and some places to drink. And
well, we did have some good food, and my uncle just redid his basement. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the pictures on Facebook of my uncle's basement?
No.
I don't like the fact that when I push F and enter, it doesn't default to Facebook. It defaults to free Dragon dictation.
Why'd you want that?
Oh, I just looked it up for my dad because, you know, my dad is like having some serious eye problems.
Man, they've been pushing that Dragon Speak and junk for since I was going to those computer shows.
It's still around. It's still around.
Speaking of computer shows, I don't know if I mentioned this to you because I couldn't have because it just happened. The place where I went to almost all my computer shows, and went to a WWF Raw, a couple wrestling shows, Harry Arena, it got blown down during those tornadoes and destroyed.
Wow, that's crazy.
Harry Arena, the place that's my old stomping ground for computer stuff, home of the computer strippers, gone.
Really? So this is my uncle's basement. Let me see if there's a picture of the. Oh,
it's got a foosball table.
I'll put this up on the thing here so everybody can see it. Oh, nope.
Yes, it is. Well, I'm sure they weren't there at the time, and if they were there, they'd be quite old.
We got the foosball going. He's got a huge.
That old boy does how to play too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's my father. He's a foosball master. I was taking several pictures of the film Major League because I was going to show them on Discord last night.
It's funny because when you were talking about that, I went back and listened to the retro show.
That is funny. What a coincidence, huh?
Well, I mean, because when you guys said he did a podcast, so I don't know who it was. I was like, I like the retros, but he's been pretty inactive podcast-wise in recent years. I think he exhausted a good chunk of his stuff.
Yeah, eventually you kind of run out of the hits, you know.
But I mean, I really enjoyed his older stuff. One thing I will say about the retros is he has never changed format ever. Same bumper music, same intro, same dialogue, same everything.
Did he drop all those loser bits? I hate those.
What loser bits?
Vintage Volts or all of those guys.
Well, those guys are nice guys.
I fast forward through those 100% of the time.
Oh, you mean when he had them? Oh, those they weren't around that long. You mean the guys that would actually come on his show?
Well, he'd be like, here are the top 5 movies from 1985, and they just list the movies. It's like, man.
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, but the guy that does the retros, do you know his real name?
I don't.
I don't either, but he's got a real Garrison Keillor-like way about him. He can tell a story, hopefully without all the disturbing sexual harassment things that affected real Garrison Keillor.
One would hope, yeah.
Let me tell you about my shame, Aaron.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the hot tub.
So I got this hot tub. This is inflatable hot tub.
Kate.
West Virginia's finest.
Now listen, that's a universally renowned dealer of hot tubs.
Yes,
inflatable hot tubs.
So I bought this thing, and I blew it up with the pump. I had to run an extension cord. Later, I found out that I almost burned my house down because you're never supposed to use an extension cord with these things because of the amount of power that they represent.
With the pump?
Yeah.
I've been running my pull and extension cords for years.
Okay, maybe that's just something they tell you in the thing.
Yeah.
So, blew it up, and then I filled it up with water.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right.
Hot tub time.
Let's plug this bad boy in.
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Yeah.
I realized that I don't have power to the hot tub.
Okay.
So I've got power inside.
Yeah.
But nothing that can run. I'd have to run a 100-foot extension cord to get to this place, or I'd have to keep the door open in the basement.
Was it right down here?
It's
I
literally
had it upstairs on the deck.
No, it would collapse the
Too
deck.
heavy?
Yeah, this thing is 2,300 pounds.
You don't have any outlets
filled.
on this wall?
Isn't that crazy?
Where's this junk plugged into?
Well, there's outlets on this side of the wall.
Yeah.
But I don't want to leave the door open for all the bugs and stuff to get in while we're running the hot tub because this thing doesn't heat up in 5 minutes. It takes 12 hours for this thing to get hot. So
what did you do? I've got a suggestion. Let's see what you did.
I called an electrician to get a quote.
To have an outlet put in.
To have an outlet put in.
Yeah.
$800 bills, y'all. Yeah. Let's hear your idea, Aaron.
What you do is you run the cable from upstairs, yo. You run it just that. You just tack the side of the house, plug that sucker in.
There,
bam.
$800,
please.
Yeah. I feel even though that the heater element in the hot tub engine is different than the pump engine. It generates a ton of electricity, and I've read stories how people have accidentally burned down their house by running an extension cord, especially one that would be 100 feet long.
You can get some heavy-duty extension cords.
I know.
They're cheap. They're not $800.
No, they're about $150. I went to Home Depot.
Where is the nearest? There is not single outlet one on
not on this side of the house at all. So I figure, okay, it's going to be kind of expensive to put this thing in, but later on down the road.
Wait a minute, you're not going to pay this guy, are you?
Later on down the road, maybe it'll be useful. Can you put in an outlet for less than $800?
I guarantee you I can find a guy to put one in for less than $800.
Give me the number.
But you got to kick a little sweetness
I'll give you a kickback.
way.
I always do. You know I pay you well.
You are good for the sugar. I'll see what I can do. Don't pay a guy $800.
Okay.
As someone who was almost an electrician, I find that appalling. And as Hack Dowdy, I find that the fact that you're not going to run the extension cord from upstairs, double appalling.
What I thought you were going to
hack
suggest.
this sucker together big time.
I thought you were going to suggest using a circular saw on the brick exterior, much like you did when you cut through that root when you were building Amigo Studios
That's
East.
even more hack related.
That was the ultimate hack.
Have you thought about doing that?
I thought about it, but I thought I'd ask you if you'd want to do it.
Man, I would too, because it's not my house.
This is my uncle's basement.
Wow.
He's a Star Wars collector and a professional magician.
Oh, how interesting. He's got your light switch on the wall.
Yeah.
Something tells me that was a gift that you gave him, isn't it?
No, he picked that up on his own.
No kidding.
These two posters, these were sent out to the original Star Wars fan club members in the 70s.
Ooh.
Like if you got in on day one. Yeah. So those are some rare items. He's got a ton of Magic posters, of course, too.
Pretty cool. Oh, Houdini, Blackstone.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, these old Magic posters, I was looking at them, like they didn't water down the Magic show back then. There's all kinds of demons and stuff, and necromancer stuff.
I've actually, that Houdini handcuff poster, I've got that. I've got one of those. I've got a couple. I'm a big Houdini guy. I loved Magic back in the day. Somewhere along the way, it lost its Magic, got uncool to me. I like the old school stuff, but Houdini was awesome. I've got some other Houdini stuff. I'm a big fan of it.
And this is the real prize of the basement.
Oh my!
A Space Lab Williams pinball machine.
That thing was. I've played that actually.
So he actually bought it. There were two versions of this machine.
Yeah, because I've never seen it. I've never seen a back glass like that.
Well,
before.
there was one version called Skylab.
Yeah.
And then they made another version just called Space Lab.
I may have played Skylab.
They're the exact same table. The only thing that's different is the back glass. Because he bought it as a Skylab, but then the back glass was all flaking, and the guy that fixed this up for him had a new old stock Space Lab back glass.
Good for man. Your uncle sounds awesome.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. My aunt's cool too. Not giving her the short shrift.
I met you.
But anyway, this has got a real neat gimmick. Where, like mine's got the spinner in the middle. This one, you've got two lanes of balls that are totally enclosed. And at the beginning of the game, a light will randomly light wherever the least amount of balls are. And if you can knock a ball up to this chute where the other balls are and bring it over and down into the other lane, you do that 5 times and then it lights a special bonus.
Does this thing have a multi-ball on it?
No multi-ball. Okay. No multi-ball. This is from '78, so
right,
this is pretty early on.
By the way, you remember Skylab, that whole
That was sort of before my time.
But you've heard with the whole thing, it's going to come crashing.
Yeah. I knew that.
That was a pretty big deal back in the day. You know, it reminds me, I got some pictures on Facebook today. They've opened an old school retro arcade bar in Huntington.
Yeah, it's in Pullman Square.
We're going to go see that.
We're going to have to do an Amigos on the Road special video presentation on this place.
Yeah, I'd like to go down and check that out. I mean, I looked at the list of games they've got, and they've got tons and tons of classic games.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I didn't look at the heady pinball, but yeah.
I'm sure they might have a couple
tables. Where's it at down there?
It's in Pullman Square. It's where the old Max and Ermans used to be, I think. Yeah.
That's what I figured. Yeah. That's kind of neat.
It's the only part of Huntington I set foot in. Anywhere else, you're getting shot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get the notes going.
I don't even need my phone for this bit. Oh,
Laurent.
Wait, no, we are doing Amiga.
Laurent is here. Laurent is he's a rare attendee on our live shows.
Laurent, man.
Hey, Pixels, Jason. We got a nice crowd here. Kate's here. Dave. I don't even know who Dave is. There's a guy from Swag here. Where is he at? Let me scroll back up.
Remember, it's irrelevant. As most of the things I say.
Let's see. Well, there was a guy here from the Southwest Amigos group, or Amiga group. There we go. Dave, it is Dave. Dave is here. Dave, I want to tell you, you put on a great show at the old Southwest Amiga group. That was the first European gathering that I actually wanted to attend, aside from Amiga Ireland. It had that Amiga Ireland
one. That looked good too.
That one looks scary.
No, those are my people.
Those are you would fit in there. I would feel afraid.
Well, you'd man up by the time you got done.
That's probably true.
By the time you left, you'd feel like you were meant to be there. This looked like a well organized treat for the senses.
Yeah,
Lots of stuff going on.
And there's
the pictures were outstanding.
I like the kind of intimate nature of it too. You know, the Manchester Play Expo was like in an old warehouse or something.
I saw that. The visual was cool looking.
Yeah, but
it was like an old like a train station or something.
I don't know. Yeah, but I prefer the home-like atmosphere of the swag for sure.
It looked good.
Yeah.
Would you say it looked bigger than the Irish one?
No.
Really?
Smaller than Amiga Ireland, I would say. Dave, will you actually? Pixels was at both. Pixels, do you concur? Was Swag smaller than Amiga Ireland?
Swag's got a good name.
It does have a good name. You can't
see. Our initials don't do anything. We got nothing.
What are our initials?
Ta.
What initials do you speak of?
You know, Swag. That's a cool.
No. I know, but what are our
the Amigos? Ta.
Oh, Ta.
That's all we got.
Well, Ta is like thank you in British English. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. When somebody wants to thank you, they'll say Ta.
No, okay.
I didn't know that till I lived there.
You're a cultural wonder, Boat.
Well, only for England, really.
You're also a fountain of misinformation. I can't trust anything.
That's true. I might have made that up. All right.
So, Sinclair.
No.
I'm joking. I just want to get you mad instantly. Bam, like that.
No, I'm all mellowed out
Calm me down. Calm me down. Make me pay.
Okay.
Now, we're gonna do, you got some feedback, news, videos, and we're going to be Dreamcatcher. Bam.
So, we got mailbag.
We got mail.
Yep.
You've got mail. Remember that?
Yep. Then we've got, I still get like a special like feeling in my heart when I hear that.
Do you? Is it because of AOL or the movie?
From AOL.
I hated AOL. The feeling I get is someone stabbing me in the heart with my own
you got to remember that was my first online experience. No. When I heard that warm voice saying "You've got mail," I knew somebody loved me.
You know, just as a slight tangent before you started, I was talking to my buddy at work. He was mocking. I can't remember what he was mocking because he's a jerk. But anyway, I was telling him about Flack's article. I don't know if you ever read this, but he wrote this article about how, he actually mentioned this on one of his shows, I think. But I've read the article too, where he talks about how the internet's here, and it's pretty good. It's a good thing to get files and stuff off of, but it's never going to replace BBSing. It's a flash in the pan, and BBSs are here to stay. And my buddy was like, man, what a stupid guy. I was like, listen, you've got to put yourself in the position of that era. The BBSs were firm and established. The World Wide Web was just kind of weird, amorphous thing.
Right.
You know, and so when you say AOL was your first entry into the world of being online, it hurts me. It makes me, because you missed out by that much.
I know.
You know, of being the BBS. Now, I mean, you got a little taste of it with AOL, but I mean, it was not the same because it's not localized. 5
years was all that separated me from BBS glory.
Yeah, you know, you can still go and get on BBSs right now.
That's going to be one of my summer projects. I'm going to try and to tell you the truth, I need to get the Atari 1200 XL keyboard repaired. That's the first step. No, it's still broken. It's still.
Tell me, I thought you told me I'll fix it. I put a new membrane on it.
The membrane didn't work, and the guy that I ordered it from, there was a whole debacle. There's a guy in California that fixes these keyboards. What I might do is retire the 1200 XL and just buy an 800 XL and put it in its place.
Isn't this your childhood computer?
It is. I won't get rid of it. I'll put it in a place of glory, out in the shed.
How hard is it to fix a keyboard in this thing? Is it that big a deal?
Yeah, because it's just...
Spend the money, Boat. Let me tell you something. Don't buy one app for your highfalutin VR project and take that money you saved to put it toward a new keyboard membrane.
I should probably do that.
Problem solved.
Look at Paul there. He says Ta is very common here in the Northeast. Bam.
Thank you, Paul.
On it.
Oh man, aren't you were a real genius, Bud.
Edvin, I'm sorry you're sick.
My kid's sick today.
Really?
He's at the home. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. You ready to Amiga this sucker up?
Let's do it.
I'm ready, man. Amiga it up.
All right,
brother.
let me make sure I've got everything in line here.
Look, you can't even see my Mountain Dew. You've got the camera. And look, you can barely see my cup.
Yeah,
I can just put that right there.
I don't have to do all weird things with it since we don't have
anything. Because on ARG, it's all front and center. Hello, everyone. Of course, I'm not drinking on ARG. It's 8 in the morning. Hello, everyone. I've got a problem.
I haven't been to bed yet.
Brent about drove to drink last week. What a punk.
Is this on the Dance Revolution episode?
No, this is the political discussion we got in before the show. Yeah, I was real good and pissed off before we started.
That's just what you want before you start a podcast.
It's
a nice political discussion.
Here goes Brent to badmouth my political leanings. I'm like, are you kidding me? Which I don't have.
What did Larry have to say about that?
Well, it involved this. Let's put it that way. He didn't say. Larry doesn't know. He doesn't have opinions.
That's good. Sometimes it's good not
smart.
to have opinions.
I mean, on anything.
Yeah.
He literally it's like he just rolls through life. He's just good to go.
Okay, before we start the show,
he's very religious, by the way.
I want to start one more thing.
Oh, here we go.
We've got to do some role playing this summer.
You know, it's funny. I almost convened a gathering of role playing last Saturday. I was like that close.
I'm glad you didn't because I wasn't home.
I know. That's one of the reasons I didn't do it.
But
yes, it's going to happen. I've got some. I've already. There are processes that are currently underway.
Okay, I'm just throwing that out there before we start. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to talk about Arabian Nights.
Beautiful, man.
You've never seen Aladdin, have you?
Hell no.
No. There's a new version.
I know. It looks hideous.
Has your kid been begging to see that?
No, he's begging not to see it.
Oh, well, that's...
He wants to be able to sleep at night. That's a no-no.
Did you see Detective Pikachu?
He saw it.
You didn't attend?
No.
Not in attendance.
I don't get to go to movies. I got to
After the incident,
I got to work, you see. I got to get the money to get the tickets for other people. I don't get to go.
Oh, what a life. What a life.
Thank God for piracy. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So, Aaron, this week's game, Arabian Nights, where do you stand? You know, you've got these different sorts of settings for fantasy. Mm-hmm. You've got your sci-fi, your space, Star Trek type setting. You got your medieval, swords and sorcery, and then you have your sort of exotic Persian setting. If you were going to rank your sort of favorite settings for a fantasy, where would they be?
Well, an interesting question, Bode. You know, I think the Arabian setting is rather underserved. When I was a kid, you heard a lot more about the Alibaba and all this stuff.
Sinbad.
You know, and because I remember as a child, Persia and the Arab countries were very exotic locales that seemed like they were full of magic and wonderment. Right. You know, and then of course there's been lots of conflict and crap under the bridge, and so now you got, when you look at that stuff now, you're a little trepidatious, right? But the fact of the matter is they've got there's a style and a lore that was built up around the romantic version of the Arabian Nights and whatnot that is appealing. Is it my favorite backdrop for reading,
fantasy
or
adventure?
You know, it's okay. It's not my favorite. I like space, obviously. I like the medieval stuff, you know, the D&D type stuff. But you know, D&D did have a Middle Eastern themed supplement or box set that was quite popular. And
what was it called?
I can't remember. I was sitting there trying to think. I've got it. It's a sad thing. You know, I like some games. I mean, Prince of Persia. I like the newer, well, not the newest. I haven't played them, but the newer ones were pretty good.
PS2 era sort of thing. Yeah.
You know, I thought they did a good job bringing it forward. You know, so it's okay. I think that some more could be done with it. To be completely honest,
I think you're right. I think that the Middle Eastern, especially when I was a kid growing up, you know, we're so far removed in age that whenever I heard Sinbad growing up, I always just thought people were talking about the comedian.
Oh God!
Because I used to watch his special all the time. It's hilarious.
You know, it's funny. I listen to a lot of old time radio shows.
Sinbad not appearing on most of those.
And when there are several lands that they speak of in a very romantic tone. One of them is what I call Persia, which, you know, the Middle Eastern areas, and the other one, amazingly and hilariously, is Cuba. Cuba need to get their act together down there. God bless them, because they could be making money hand over fist.
Oh yeah, I mean they were a tourist mecca before the 50s.
They should.
Yeah.
My buddy said the best night he ever spent on Earth was sleeping on a Cuban beach. How beautiful it was, and hopefully someday we can all get along. And same thing with the Middle East.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing. There's tons of beautiful sites, everything, things to do that you can't see anywhere else. We just got to work it out. But as a setting, I think it's a underutilized setting, but I mean, it's a sign of the times.
We'll hash it out on this week's episode. We'll make it oversaturated.
I don't know. So you do me favors with that.
So Aaron, let's talk about what's been going on in the world of the Dreamcatcher, our man on the street.
Dreamcatcher has been a maniac the past week or so. Now, admittedly, we didn't go over any news last week. And so DK has put up a bunch of stuff in the interim. So we're just going to go over these real quick. I don't think we talked about this. Mash of the Sprite Ands. This, I think we may have touched this. I can't remember. But he goes into Clash of the Titans, which I have to say, Have you ever seen the original Clash of the Titans film?
This is what's the guy's name that's famous for the stop motion animation?
Oh God, you had something House, Israel House.
Yeah, something like that.
He's a genius.
Mm-hmm.
This was the last big film that used his sort of animation, and it was awesome, and it stands the test of time. Love this. Have you seen this one?
I have not seen any. Oh, it's Henryhausen or something like Ray Henryhausen.
This movie, Release the Kraken. This is where you've ever heard that term?
I've heard that.
This is the movie it came from. Release the Kraken.
This was they redid this movie recently, right?
And it was not good. Listen, stop screwing with good movies. Do bad ones. Go back and remake crap. This was fine. This was an awesome flick. I liked every part of it. The Kraken was awesome. Medusa was awesome. The mechanical owl. None of this means anything to you, does it? And so clearly the DK uses Clash of the Titans as the backdrop to this particular game, which I believe was called
Pegasus.
Yeah, I've never heard of this game as usual. I've never played this game, but it looks pretty good. Any game where you get to drive around on the flying horse, I'm down. I'm down with the clown.
I've always been that way.
Have you ever ridden a real horse?
Oh man,
I don't know.
One of my best friends growing up had horses.
I don't know if you're an equestrian.
Yeah,
that's the correct term?
I'm an equestriist, baby.
Are you? I don't know what that means. So the next item on the DK docket, it's not hammer time.
Oh.
Remember when you first heard that song?
Yes, I was in elementary school and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever heard in my life.
I wasn't too fond of it when I first heard it.
Really?
Yeah, because it totally ripped off. I was like, Rick James.
Yeah.
When I heard it, I was like, oh, it's Rick James. I was like, what the hell is this?
What do you think about the rest of the MC Hammer ooh-wah?
Well, I will say, my heart has softened toward Hammer. And part of the reason is he's just such a goofy character. He's got those big pants. He dances around like a goofball. But you can't help but sort of
I love that song he did with the Addams Family, the Addams Groove.
That wasn't him. That was you're talking about. Oh no, I'm talking about the guy. The Whoop, the Addams Family. There it is. The Whoop, there it is, guys.
That had nothing to do with the Addams Family.
So this is a separate song that I've never heard this one.
Oh really? Oh man, they do what they want to do. I can do the whole thing. Maybe I'll do that as the Patreon song one
are you gonna do the dance too?
Oh yeah.
So DK, again, I like how he springboards from one thing. I know MC Hammer has little to do with this article. This is Crystal Palace.
Is this like a Crystal Castles?
It's a platform.
Oh, okay.
And I've never I think this was in a magazine, so your mileage may vary on that one. Moving along, I moved too far. Jules Rimet Blaspheming, right there with Soccer Kid.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
I see it.
And I haven't read this one. He
got some hot action on this. 7 comments.
So, Soccer Kid. It's funny this should come up. It's a time waste today's headline.
Yeah.
Because Soccer Kid is intertwined with our fellow in this game. They're very similar. You have to check this one out. I have not read this one yet. This is one I haven't gotten to. I'm sure it looks like it's about Soccer Kid, which we covered. It's like, how long ago since we covered Soccer Kid?
All the games run together.
Soccer Kid wasn't my favorite. I know you liked it a lot more than I did.
If you're looking for quality platformers on the Amiga, Soccer Kid is near the top.
What? No.
Yes.
No, I don't agree with that.
Well,
I think you're
not really a platformer guy.
What do you say? You're invalidating my opinion on platformers? I think the people know who the platformer guy is. Now let's talk about this last article. It's Only Forever, not long at all.
This is from Shadow of the Beast. Yeah,
that's true. But the game in question here, I believe, is
Agony.
Now we have never covered this game, I don't believe, but I've played it many times. Did you ever do we do Amigos play on this?
I haven't played. This is one of these games you always see it in the top 10 of Amiga game, all-time top 10 Amiga games. This is a first. There was Menace joint, right? Well, DMA Design, didn't they do this one?
Well, but it's not. It's different than Menace. And this one, you play it, and you basically play the Psygnosis logo, an owl, and you fly across the screen left to right. It's a shooter. Beautiful, beautiful shooter. Awesome music, but it is hard.
Hard as nails.
It's not as hard as other games. Part of the reason it's so hard is because your guy's so big.
Yeah.
But the graphics and stuff on it are just tippity top. We'll probably have to get into this one at some point. I'm sure we're going to get to it.
This is on the AGSC list, so I'm sure that it will be coming up.
This and Awesome are a couple games we've never gotten to that I would like to get to at some point. I think Awesome is way better.
Yeah, you really cheerlead this Awesome game, and no one else seems to have played it.
It's been killed every time I've tried to get some action out of it. So yeah, 4 offerings from the man who never stops, and they look like it's some good stuff there.
Absolutely. Aaron, let's talk about what's been going on in this week in Amiga news. Big news of the week, Aaron. It's International Amiga Day. What are the chances that we record on International Amiga Day?
The same chances that we start the podcast the day the Amiga's anniversary.
Now, that's true. Now, when I first saw this, I think Pixels at Dawn tweeted about this morning, and I immediately went to the New York Times to find their write-up on it. I was shocked to learn that they didn't report on this particular news item.
Typical press.
Yeah. Ignoring the biggest stories.
Correct.
Mainstream media. You know where to go.
Correct.
Retro Computing News has the scoop. Okay, so they've got some stories with Jay Miner. They've got an AUI interview here. If you're looking to do something to celebrate International Amiga Day, head on over to retrocomputingnews.com and check out their coverage of International Amiga Day.
In honor of International Amiga Day, I played a crap load of Amiga today. There you go. It was glorious.
Other big news, Aaron. There's a new game in town.
I've been hearing about this game. This has a Defender of the Crown Deluxe Edition level of hype. Because I heard about this I've heard about it forever.
Right. This game has been years in the making. It's finally been released. Reshoot R. This is a game for purchase. I believe that, yes, the digital download edition. €29.95, 30 euros. That is far and away the most expensive digital download Amiga game I have ever seen.
30 euros. Now, what do you have to play this on?
This is you need
Looks like you have to have an
AGA.
020.
Yeah.
So that's a spicy meatball, as they say. What to see? Now I watched a little in-game footage because I had a feeling at some point our paths are going to cross this game, so I didn't want to hose myself on it, but. It looks pretty good. You know,
it kind of reminds me, it's got that sort of, I know it's a different kind of game, but it's got sort of that Super Stardust vibe.
It's funny you should mention that because that's the first thing I thought of.
Really?
It's probably the
asteroids,
meteors, that are flying around. It looks pretty, and so it's not super duper fast. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm sure we will come across this and probably drop down. Or how much say it was 30 euros?
30 euros.
That's for the digital. How much is the box copy?
I think 49.
I think I just get the box.
Yeah.
Now, wonder what the exchange rate is these days, Boatster.
Looks like I think it's about 130.
I wonder what the difference is between the Signature Edition and the Pure Edition.
Let's see. Let's look at the Pure Edition here.
Pure uncut game.
Looks like it just comes with a separate audio CD soundtrack.
And what's the other one come with that's more expensive?
I think it just comes with the box.
Well, maybe the other one's more expensive.
No, the Signature Edition is the less expensive version.
Oh, okay. I got you here. So, well, I think I can probably go without that. I'm wondering if the music's any good.
I don't know.
So, yeah, it's on the list. Oh boy, thank you, Lauren. So yeah, what do you think about this? You watched some of the footage. Are you down with the clown? And what do you think about paying? I mean, to us, this is a straight up proper game release. This isn't like they're charging the big money.
Right off the bat, this does not impress me as a game worth $30. We've covered several games that are much cheaper and much better. For example, what was the name of that puzzle game that we played that was great?
It was good, but again, we haven't not played this. I don't want to say that was much better than this.
I can just tell from that 30-second clip that we just watched.
I was gonna say you can't appraise a game. Don't bury this game. You haven't even played it yet. So I'm gonna withhold judgment. I will say
I will not withhold judgment.
First of all, anyone that releases an Amiga game of some quality in 2019, complete with box, the whole kit and caboodle, I'm cool with that. That's A-okay. Not some kind of slop job, a real proper game. And listen, if the game warrants an expenditure of $30 to $40, I mean, if it's straight up good, more power to you. I hope nothing but success. And we'll just see how. listen, once you make a game like this, you've set a price point, you've got your dealio. After that, the game stands on fall.
Now,
on its own
I will
merit.
say this. This guy, I think this is a one-man show. I think,
Really?
and I've read in this Indie Retro Game News article that this guy, Richard Lowenstein, he's been working on this thing for literally years.
Yeah, I've heard about this thing for a long time.
So I don't blame anybody that wants to charge, whatever they think is worth their time for this period of years, which is, a labor of love. For me, I'm not the biggest fan of shooters, and that probably has a lot to do with it. If this was a really cool-looking role-playing game or something like a Zelda, like that Zelda fan remake that we've been seeing on the news here, I might be more down with that. But I mean,
worthy. That's the word.
Worthy, yeah. That to me, that was the epitome of right price point with right product.
That thing was what, $5? I
think it was about 10.
Yeah,
about 10. Yeah.
Hey, listen. I will have a look at this, and it looks like something that's cool. I'll pay the bucks.
If the selection committee chooses it for us, we'll throw down the cash for it. No questions asked.
Because it's never going to go down in price.
No,
no matter whether it's good or bad. And if maybe the box stuff's cool. You don't know what they got going. Plus the CD,
right?
Cool. It's funny. That's come up because two reasons. One, I think Amiga Bill world premiered this last week.
He did.
And the other thing is, remember a couple weeks ago we did a game. Oh God! It was a Star Glider 2, and it came with its own audio.
It came with the tape, yeah.
And I got it finally.
I was going to say, did that finally come in the mail?
And I did not pay $50 for it, but I can tell you, I did get it. I haven't listened to the tape yet, though, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so not a new precedent here. This is something that they were doing when Star Glider 2 was around.
Yeah. Now, I mean, Laurent Giroux brings up a great question in the chat. He says, "Interesting remark, Ron. You done messed up. How much would you guys pay for an arcade perfect official version of, say, Super Hang-On? Would you shell out real dollars for any port?"
It's funny, Laurent, that you'd mention that. I'll tell you why. I was just at an arcade, and they had a twin Super Hang-On there with the bikes.
Yeah, man.
Now the kid chose to instead get on the snowboard simulator. But
right. Yeah.
You can get a Super Hang-On pretty cheap, the arcade version. And I'm not the biggest fan of that particular game. However, here's the thing, Laurent, and this is what I'm saying about this particular game. I will pay if the price is warranted. If I think it's a good-looking title, by God, especially as someone that's coming from the ground, blue-collar programmer, working by himself on an old machine, trying to get some action. By God, I'd pay the money. That's the way I look at it. I like that. We need quality software put out by passionate people, and if they're going to charge, and I know this from working in computers all my life, you need to charge what your time is worth. I never did it. I always took a bath on all these deals I did. So if this game and the box and all the cool stuff that comes with it is worth 47 euros or whatever, and people are paying that for it, and I'm sure they are, more good on it.
Yeah.
Will it be a good game that I'm into? Only time will tell. And hopefully it's a demo or something. But if we have to buy it outright, we just buy it. Giving money to somebody who was actually out there doing the job. So I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. Well said. Aaron, speaking of guys putting their nose to the grindstone, releasing quality content, let's talk about Chrysalis Software and their game Arabian Nights. All
right. So Arabian Nights. Now, as we always do before we kick these things off, had you ever played this bad boy?
Never. And I can't believe it. I can't believe that this thing, I didn't do a whole lot of research because that's your bag. I'm eager to find out what, if any, other platforms this thing came out on.
Well, for starters, we have covered Chrysalis before.
Yes.
If you'll recall. Now, they were behind, in fact, several times actually, they were behind such seminal titles as Hill Street Blues, the Manchester United games, a ton of those. So if you're into them, a Euro football game, a game called Prison.
Did you like Hill Street Blues?
The show?
Yeah.
No. I like the theme. That was about it. That's not the theme from Hill Street Blues. That's the theme from Taxi.
Wow.
Once again, you're a fool. And I never can tell if you're just an idiot or you're pretending to be an idiot. I guess either way, it doesn't matter. They also did Saber Team. Oh,
we know about that, yeah.
And Soccer Kid. No surprise there. So this was this was published by Chrysalis and developed by them. Double trouble, right? So the guy that the men behind this, I'm not going to go through all these guys, but some of these guys are responsible for some of my favorite Amiga games when I looked at what they did. The coder on this game was a guy named Simeon C. Pashley, and he did Shadow Warriors, which I thought was a really cool game.
A little bit slow, but
what the heck? No. The musician on this was a guy named Matt Furniss. He did a lot of games and a lot of arcade ports on the Amiga, including Chase HQ, Cyberball.
Cool.
He did Hard Drive and Tubin. Ultima 6, Shadow Warriors, and a ton more stuff. So they did a ton of stuff. So you've got a pretty experienced team here. One of the graphics guy worked on Blastroids. Remember that one? So you had a lot of people that did graphics and that did a lot of different stuff. So these guys, for the most part, this is a pretty seasoned outfit. This game was released in two varieties, two different flavors. You had your straight-up ECS OCS version, then you had the Amiga CD32 version. Now, for this time, for whatever reason, I chose to play the old version. The
I chose to play that version because that was the WHD version that I had. Yeah.
That's I played it off disc. There you go. So you mentioned, did this get released on anything else? Answer: no.
Interesting.
It never got released on anything else. Which who knows why? Soccer Kid got released on tons of stuff. So one would wonder why that happened.
Now, the Soccer Kid, did that come before or after Arabian Nights?
I'm guessing it came before. I didn't look at the date on Soccer Kid, so somebody could probably back me up on that. I will start out by saying the fellow you play in this game is Sinbad Jr. Now, Sinbad Jr. and Soccer Kid look eerily similar. That's all. I'm just going to go there. They're very similar in the way the size, the way they look, kind of that cutesy look to it. So this game starts out with a wacky cinematic.
This, you know what this reminded me of?
We didn't talk about this.
No.
So I know what you're going to say.
Right.
But go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Super Frog.
No, that's not what I thought you were going to say. Wrong. No. The correct answer is CDI's Zelda game.
Oh.
That's what the animation looks like.
You know,
and
that's a better
not
answer.
A good thing.
That's a better answer.
The guy that did Super Frog is a national treasure.
Well, it's a typical Amiga overreaction.
No, it's not. Please, direct all hate mail to both. I love Mr. Schwartz. He's a genius. So the animation in this shows Sinbad Jr. Now, clearly, Sinbad Jr. hit the skids after his dad's success.
Yeah.
Sinbad Jr. is the gardener at the castle. What the hell happened to him?
He blew all his money.
All he got was his dad's sword, and he's chopping grass with it. No good. No good. So the game starts off with a cinematic of Sinbad, and he's looking longingly at the princess.
Right.
Like, man, look at this princess. That's my kind of girl. If only she would notice me. Now, what happens in these situations, right? Bowser. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It might as well have been Bowser. A dragon man comes down and grabs her and flies off. All right? So who's going to save her? Well, the gardener, right? No. Because the gardener's immediately arrested and thrown in prison.
Right.
Why?
They think that he did it.
This is sort of eerily similar to Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Another guy who loves the princess and then gets thrown in jail and he has to escape the dungeon.
This is a much better game.
Well, are you kidding me, Bo?
No.
You're starting off with a bad foot. So at this point, you are Sinbad Jr. and you start off trying to escape the dungeon. So what is this game? This game is as straight up, I don't want to say generic, but I would say all the usual suspects are here. It's a straight up platform game with, admittedly, some puzzle elements that range from interesting to annoying. Let's go there. Your character is a little cutesy guy in a fez with a sword. And this game has an inventory system, which is probably the most unusual aspect of it. It's funny thing about the inventory system. You've got this vast inventory slots.
You got like 20 slots.
How many did you ever fill up?
2.
By the way, just before we start, how far did you get in this game?
I got past the first level.
Okay, I beat the game.
Okay.
I put it on unlimited lives, but I went through everything. So my knowledge of this is now intimate. I beat the entire game. I never had more than like 4 things in my inventory. So either I'm an idiot. Now, I did play this on Brain Dead. So maybe if you advance the level somewhat.
Well, one of the things, this game gives you a completion percentage when you complete the level. And so it's possible to get through the game without finding all of the stuff, sort of like Symphony of the Night.
So what do you do in this game? Well, you escape jail at first. And escaping jail is a series of leaps over pits, leaps over spikes, leaps over hanging platforms. On the first level, you have to rescue a prisoner. How do you rescue him? You've got to go get enough money to pay off a snake charmer. I don't want to spoil the game for anybody, but that's what you do. So this game has currency. Now
gems.
Well, on those, see, this is where since you only got to pass the first level, the currency is different on every level.
I'm talking about the first level.
Yeah, it's different on every level. So on the first level, you got your gems. And one level, you've got skulls. You collect all kinds of wacky stuff, and this currency can be. Sometimes I'm trying to remember if it's used every level. I know it's used several times, but there's no store where you get to go buy like secret moves.
Right.
You just use it to get past. It's used as a gate basically. On this level, for example, you have to buy a snake from a snake charmer, and the snake is a. I even wrote this down because it struck me as so stupid.
It's a rigid snake.
It's a rigid snake, so you remembered it too.
Yeah.
And you go and use it as a crank to crank down a prisoner.
And to be honest with you, one of the many things that I like about this game is that they could have easily taken the easy slacker's way out, like in Super Frog, and just say, you have to have this many things to get to the exit. But no, they actually worked it into the story. You've got to be able to buy this item to be able to get past this puzzle to get through.
We mentioned that you have a sword. The sword, there's not a ton of like combat.
No,
I mean there's some guy. Again, I played on. I don't know what level did you play on.
I played on easy or whatever the normal difficulty was.
I think it was training.
No, I was one above training.
So you occasionally run into soldiers or other things you have to kill, but also you'll have to use sort of chop through walls, dirt, sort of stuff. What were your initial impressions, Bo?
Happiness, glee. I was so glad to be playing a great game for the Amiga. This game does so many things right. This game is probably like if you take the Dizzy series, and you make it better, you end up with a game like this. Because
again, send your hate mail to Bode.
This game takes the inventory kind of puzzle solving element of the Dizzy games, which was very unique and kind of trend-setting for the time. But then you get put into this world where your character actually controls pretty fluidly. You go through all these different scenes. The stages are not overly long. The customs thing at the end, when you're tallying up all your currency and all, how much you did. I thought that was a cute touch. They could have easily just put up a blank screen like so many Amiga games and just say, well done, move on.
In general, do that, not just Amiga games.
Nothing like the Amiga, I can tell you that.
Listen, I'm going to punch you in the Jimmy if you still don't start bad mouthing the computer.
So anyway, the only bad thing about this game is that every game plays Sinbad Jr. acts like he's on ice at all times.
Wait till you get to the ice level.
Yeah. I saw that because I watched the full playthrough and I was like, boy, if he was acting slippery before, this must be a nightmare. Your momentum carries you much further than you should be. If you play this game with a controller, with the WHD load version, it maps all 3 buttons to a controller. So you've got your inventory on a button, your jump on a button, and your sword on a button. It makes it very fun to play. My first impressions and my overall impressions of this game, excellent platformer, definitely in the top 10 platformers on the system. Not the Addams Family, not as good as the Addams Family.
I'm not going to totally disagree with you, but I am going to pull some stuff out into the light from the darkness on this game.
I know you're going to talk about the shoot 'em up levels. I didn't get to those.
Okay, for starters, Sinbad Jr. controls well. Okay, I had no problems controlling him. I thought the game was fair for the most part. I'll get to that, my beefs with it. I thought the game went, like you said, the levels aren't too long. The puzzle elements in this are interesting. There were a couple that I had to get help with, but for the most part, they're pretty interesting. And for the most part, they made sense. On the second level, I got really flustered because I couldn't figure out what to do. and you go to this lady who gives you a thimble, and you have to. And I had to go back and look the playthrough. You have to collect this guy's tears in the thimble. I couldn't even tell he was crying. I thought he was spitting. And so it never occurred to me that I would try to catch tears in a thimble. But you have to get the tears to water a plant to get out the level. That sucked. I'd have to say that puzzle needs work because it didn't look like he was crying, and also it's a thimble. I mean, why not give us a bucket or something?
Right.
You know, come on.
Well, maybe that's part of the humor. This game is said to have humorous elements.
Well, I couldn't figure out why in the customs office there was a poster up that just said rabies. What's that all about?
I think that it's like when you go to a customs. Have you ever been to a customs office before?
Yes. At one time.
Okay, so in a lot of customs, there's lots of posters that say like, "Do not bring these things into our country."
Well, it would have been funnier. It should have said Arabies. You get it? Because it's Arabian.
That would be funny. See, you should have got a job at Chrysalis.
I know. Well, there you go. So the first level I thought was pretty solid. I think the first level was actually probably my favorite level.
Really?
Yeah. The second level was okay. Here are some problems I had going forward because this game rapidly deteriorated the further I got. I like the second level, which is a forest level. And there were a lot of touches that we talk about. When you jump up into the trees, leaves fall down. This game is tons of cunningly placed secrets, a la Mario or something, where this game implements the secret areas very well.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They're fun. And sometimes the secret levels sometimes the little secret rooms are challenging too. You have to be kind of clever to get through them. Sometimes you don't get what you want. So I give it A+ to that. There are hidden areas. There are places you jump in. Like on the underwater level, there's a pipe you jump in, and you can't see your character. So you sort of have to negotiate by feel and sound. It was pretty cool. Okay. The fact that this guy has an idle animation I like. You know, if you don't touch the joystick, he just stands there doing something. He has one of those animations where he's getting ready to fall off the cliff. I like those little touches.
Yeah. Chrysalis, I mean, they really looked at the popular platformers of the day and tried to emulate what was going on.
There's that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you should do.
They didn't reinvent the wheel here.
No,
let's put it that way. Now, the first boss, you get to the first boss, it's basically like a giant whack-a-mole.
Right.
It wasn't the best. Now, then you go to this flying level. This is where the game really starts to go off the cliff. The flying levels in this are crap.
That's, reading all the reviews on Limit and things, that universally despised.
How do you botch that? That should be the easiest part of the game. Now, I will say this. The levels take place when you're on a magic carpet, and the background has this sort of like the sky going from Earth to space.
Okay.
And it's pretty. There's like a rainbow effect, but you're zoomed way out, way out.
Yeah, your sprite's
and your guys
real
are real
small.
And it just sucks, and it just ends. There's no until you get to the one with the end boss, but there's no like you're not trying to kill an X amount of people, or you're not. It just goes away. And the enemies that just repeat over and over, those suck. That's a missed opportunity. And to me, it seems like laziness, to be completely, because that should have been where another level was, because this game's not very long. And so that was one of my big gripes. The next level is you're on a boat. The boat is you have to go around and you have to fight these big like squids to get fish. Get this guy to cook you a meal to get you out of the boat. All right. It's not the best. It's okay. It's a little more claustrophobic. It's probably the most claustrophobic one. Then you get to the water level. The water level sucks. I didn't like it a bit. Now, luckily, it's not super long. It's just not very good.
It follows in the long tradition of water levels being awful.
Well, that's what when you said this, they looked at what everybody else was doing and did the same thing. Listen, this game has a forest level. It's got a water level. It's got an ice level. There's nothing new here.
Right.
They did not innovate that much. Now, there's a level where you go get in a mine car and you go down into the mines. You're in the mine car for a little while, but my mine car eventually it went away. And so you're just walking around the mine car level. That's not that much fun.
No.
So that level didn't do much for me. Then you're in a diamond mine after that. The one thing I did say, again, a little touch. They've got these conveyor belts in the mine, and in the conveyor belts, if you look underneath the conveyor belt, there are these turtles just moving as fast as their little legs can go to turn these.
So it's a nice little artistic touch.
I always thought that was pretty funny. The end boss in that level was this sort of like devil, and he's going to have his son kill you or his buddy down at the bottom. And what you've got to do is you've got to spin these wheels, like pipe wheels, you know, like open and close pipes, and water will come on the ceiling and hit the demon or the devil.
Okay.
And if you get him wet enough, then he goes away.
That's how
that was
work,
probably the most clever boss they had. Then you've got more flying. So there's more than one. Now, the flying at this one has a dragon at the end. He's the easiest guy in this whole game. You can crush him easy. I didn't have any problems with him. Now, when you get to the last level, it's ice. All right? The ice level is just what you said. It is real tough to control. Now, I will admit there are some very interesting puzzle elements on this level using the ice and using these like sideways springs. You know how your guy can, if you take off running, you can duck and slide under stuff like Mario. On this level, springs will shoot you towards spikes. You have to sort of duck under them to get to, and you have to use that move to get to different rooms and stuff. And you have to build up enough speed and momentum to get enough speed to slide under there, because if you slide halfway through, your guy will stand up and die.
Right.
So
and this is another one of those games where anytime any kind of a crushing death is always an instant death. It doesn't take off your life.
That's right, right. Because even with unlimited or unlimited energy, presumably you would just be killed. The last boss you fight is one of these guys. You kill him, then he comes back. You kill him, then he comes back. You kill him again. It was okay. It was no great shakes. And the end of the game is some more of that spotty animation of you kissing the princess. Game over. It's about 4 seconds of animation.
Yeah.
So the game's a mixed bag, is what I'm saying. I think the first level was good. I think the first level was really good. The second level was good. The third and fourth levels are not that great. The end level with ice, while I admire the level design, it's real tricky, and the boss is real super brutal. The flying levels are crap, and so they really weigh the game down. The music is good. We should talk about that. What did you think of the music?
I thought the music was okay.
Really? I thought it was pretty good.
I didn't think it was memorable. Like, I didn't walk away humming the tune like I would in a truly memorable game. But it didn't, the loop itself was pretty long, which is always the key. You know, I think that it went a minute or two without repeating. So I thought that was good. I also thought that it was good that the music changes on each level. And so, you know, for an Amiga game, that's pretty good. You've got music and gameplay sound effects going on at the same time. You've got multiple tracks, and each level is a different song. That puts it at the tippity top for this platform.
Well, the flip side of that is there aren't that many levels.
Okay. Well.
And so you're talking, what, 3-4 songs.
Okay.
Not a big deal. You're also talking about, I mean, this game's supposed to have like 7 levels. Well, if you take away the hideous flying levels, it's very short. The playthrough, now I didn't get through it this quick. The playthrough that I looked at, they did it in like 48 minutes, I think. It took me considerably longer, and because you can also get lost on some of these levels, it can get kind of confusing. It's not the worst. I mean, you guys know me. I'm not the best platform player, and I got through it. And I wouldn't even consider it that hard again.
Well, you also had unlimited everything.
No, just unlimited lives. So I got killed and got damaged like I normally would. I'm not saying, could I have beaten this game with no unlimited? No. But I'm just telling you, we've played a lot of Amiga games. This isn't in the top half of the hardest. You can,
sure.
On this level, you could have a chance.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
It's fun and it's fair. Now, one thing they introduced on the second level are these little guys. They're sort of like bombs or whatever that goes, bombs or those guys. They just walk around and they explode. Those guys suck, and they're everywhere, and they make a reappearance later on. I didn't like those. Also those come on the third level or the fourth level. On the second level, these birds come out that are real tough to kill. I didn't like that because they're so small. So the enemies.
I was never able to kill those. I just ran into them and they died.
Yeah, well, they hurt you.
Yeah.
I killed them. But the puzzle elements give this some unique flavor. The atmosphere and the setting give it some unique flavor. But overall, to me, this is sort of and by the way, if you're wondering what the AGA version's got that the other version doesn't.
And an additional $10 on the purchase price.
Well,
it's got
AGA graphics, obviously, and also what you get is full gamepad support. Okay, so you can use the CD32's pad, which is a good thing because this game has 3 buttons.
Yeah.
But overall, I will give this game. I'd say this is as they say in wrestling, this is a solid B+ player, in my opinion. No more, no less.
It's clear that you like this game much less than I did.
Well, I mean, a B+ is good.
Yeah, if you're looking for something that scratches the same itch as Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo or Sonic the Hedgehog, that kind of a game, but with an interesting puzzle mechanic where you have to get items and combine items together to progress through the game. It's not just a hold right and jump type affair. I mean, this game it's right up. There's not another game on the platform that controls this well, that looks this good, that sounds this good. There just isn't.
I don't agree with you on that.
Okay, tell me one.
Well, I mean, you say that.
Tell me one.
You say that. I can't just say here all off games. I think Prince of Persia is a much better game.
That's a totally different genre.
Well,
you
like mocked it earlier. Well, I
didn't tell you it was a good genre.
What about Yo-Jo? It does a lot of the same sort of stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
It's not a lot of fun.
You liked Yo-Jo. You can't even remember playing it. What about we've played a lot of solid platformers over the years.
Yeah, we have, but there's not there's no other games
that's so special. I don't get it. To me, it's a slightly above generic, fairly well done game that have some hit or miss levels. I mean, is it better than, say, Super Frog?
Oh, yes. God, yes.
But what about, like, for example, I thought RoboCod 2 was a really good game.
RoboCod doesn't control as well as this game. With a platformer, control is everything. If you don't have good control, you can forget about everything else.
Because it automatically gave you that second button.
No. I'm saying it because your guy controls like you think he should.
He controls well. I mean, I will say that.
Right. Okay, so you take that. First of all, that's 9/10 of the game right there. Then if you say, okay, now you've got to do something else besides just collect 10 of whatever so you can get through the gate at the end. Because that's all other. That's most other Amiga platformers are like
Lionheart is a perfect example of a brilliantly done platform game that's beautiful, has great music, and has good control.
It does not have good controls.
And is original. So there you go. If you wanted to, there you go. You wanted the best, you got the best. I priced this sucker on. Oh, we should look over the reviews here because this thing got reviewed. The folks over at Lemon gave this 2 scores. They gave it an 8 for the 8 and some change for the CD32 version, and 7 and some change for the OCS ECS version. So what you've got here is a lot of reviews, sort of like what I said. Amiga Action 82, Amiga Force 85, Amiga Format 80.
But remember, this British grading scale, 80s are great.
Amiga Power 83, CU Amiga 86, the One a 90. So and the rest of these computing format power 85, 88, 88, 82. Enough said. And that's where I would put this, somewhere in probably about the 82 to 85 level. That's not bad. That's not bad. You act like I'm killing it. I'm not. But I'm not going to exalt it because having played it, it
deserves exaltation.
There are levels I didn't like. I mean, it is what it is. Levels I didn't like. Any final thoughts on this?
Well, let's go over some of our own community's reviews.
Well, hold on a second. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Pixels at Dawn says, a visually and audibly appealing platformer that always looked good in magazines back in the day. It has a decent difficulty curve once you master the traditional Amiga lack of friction. We'll happily return and complete this game, although the birds in the forest level can frankly do one.
Bam.
8.5 out of 10. Chris Folds says, what do you get when you try and combine the speed of Sonic with the finesse of Mario but don't have the skill to pull it off? This game.
Wow.
Decent graphics and sound, but overly floaty controls and weird, stupid side-on shooter levels are just plain bad. 5.5 out of 10.
Wow. Who was that, Folds?
That was Folds.
I didn't get any Sonic vibe from this, did you?
The underwater levels, maybe. Those were always the most annoying parts of Sonic games, yeah. Graham Vebke says, a fairly unoriginal plot spawns this run-and-jump game where your character wields a sword and tries to rescue a princess. The music suits the theme but can get repetitive, and the art is well drawn with smooth animations. Level design is okay, the puzzles aren't that difficult. Overall, this is a very confused game that tries to do multiple genres, but the shmup levels are dire. 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to give it a better score than that.
Yeah.
Man, Graham usually likes stuff too.
And finally, Duncan Styles, the Dunk. He says, this is a fairly standard platformer wrapped up in good graphics, music, and effects. Every now and then it does something to mix things up, and there are lots of secrets to find, which is always fun. The inertia of your character will cause you issues, and something isn't quite right with the jumping. 7.5 out of 10.
You know, several of those fellows mentioned the controls, the jumping. And I listen. I can't judge people, but I'm certainly. It's funny because I say this. I think this is the difference between people that are used to playing computer platformers versus people that are used to playing consoles.
That might be true. That might be true.
Because to me, this felt like any Super. I mean, in terms of the way the guy controlled, it felt like any Super Nintendo style.
I felt the same way.
You know, so I checked this out on the eBay, Bo, because I know you're interested. I can see you've got the money in your hand. By the way, I found I have copies in Canada, so we could actually buy this if we wanted to. If you want the CD32 version of the jewel case, the instructions, and the CD, 20 to 40 takes it home. You might get lucky and get it a smidge cheaper, but probably around 20. If you want the big box ECS version, 40 to 50 bucks, and that's what they're selling for. All this in Europe, except for the one in Canada, which is CD32. You might get it for like 27 bucks, something like that. So this, I don't know if this got a release over here. I'm guessing since the Canadians have it, it probably did get an NTSC release. But the one I played was in PAL, so there you go.
All right, well, we did forget one thing, and this is the second or third week in a row that we've forgotten this. I did want to plug some of your awesome new content on YouTube, Aaron.
My awesome content?
Yes. So you've been...
When did I make that?
You've been the league leader in terms of awesome videos here on the site lately. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this video that you just put out about the Atomic Pie and City of Heroes?
Well, a couple of the videos I put out, I mean, they were simple videos I put it out for. You know, I made it widely known that I picked up an Atomic Pie, 35 bucks. I couldn't say no. And amongst the things I wanted to do with it was see if I could run City of Heroes on it, which I attempted to do last night in a very shaky, unprofessional video that I shot on my phone. And it worked-ish, you know. The funny thing is when you install Windows 10 on the Atomic Pi, it leaves you with well, you have to go get a special version because now the normal version won't let you really put it on anything less than like 20-some gigs because Windows is a huge storage sucking scumbag. But I had to go get a special version. But anyway, long story short, I had about a gig of space left after I installed it. So this is running off of a USB drive, but it does work. You know, driver issues here and there, but it works. This is playing City of Heroes. A lot of people have put a Linux build on here and are using it for emulation, and it does just as well as you would expect. It does somewhat better than the Raspberry Pi. Again, I like the idea that a $35 computer can run a modern OS. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this. I was talking to my buddy at work, and these cheap single board tiny little computers are going to get better and better, and much like emulation when it comes to arcade machines, it's going to get to the point where no one cares and it won't matter. Because now, I mean, I could stick a meme on this and I could show a bunch of footage of me playing video, but no one cares. Anyone can do that with anything at any time.
I'm already bored.
So I'm really just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this. So if any of you folks listening to the Amigos have any idea what I should do with this Atomic Pi, feel free to tell me. But I put a couple of videos up for that. One of them how to run power because this thing doesn't have any power inputs, as ludicrous as that is. We also, me and the Brent have put a couple ARGs up. In the past few weeks, we haven't really talked about. We did last week's show was on rhythm games. We did a couple of the like music games. We did, and Brent picked Space Channel 5, and I picked DJ Hero 2. Have you ever played either one of those?
No, I've not.
I'm surprised you haven't played Space Channel 5. Dreamcast.
Yeah, you know, were
you a Dreamcast
I was
guy?
into the Dreamcast, but I never played Space Channel 5.
You know about Ooh La La.
Yeah. I remember she was.
Deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that your whole discussion, I went into this episode thinking I was going to despise it. I thought it would be worse than the Xbox episode. But it actually was great because the story behind Space Channel 5 and the whole Delight thing and all that stuff, real interesting.
You know, that Xbox game, that one of my all-time favorite games was featured on there. I mean, whether you don't like the Xbox or not, it's got that test drive off Eva Destruction game. It was really fun. 4 players simultaneously. You should give that a shot. We did another show 2 weeks ago that we didn't talk about, and I'll be done if I can remember. What was it? Did you remember what the 2 week ago show was? I don't even remember.
It was some other kinds of games. It'd be great if I could easily negotiate the YouTube channel.
I will say, there
Button
was Button Mashers. It's funny we should cover that because we played a lot of a track and field-esque game this week for the Spectrum show. But on this one, we cover track and field for the Atari 2600 and the main event arcade game. which was one I owned up until a few months ago. Didn't I, Bo?
You did. You did.
Before I jettisoned it.
I don't think I ever actually played Main Event though.
A wise
you,
decision. I will say the track and field game for the Atari, Brent was dead on. With that controller, was a lot of fun.
You know, I didn't even realize there was a track and field port for the Atari. I've owned a million Atari games, and I've never once seen this come across my way.
Did you listen to this episode?
Yeah, man.
So you know about the little controller, and it would probably work on the Spectrum. I thought about that.
Yeah.
I went to go buy it from the place I last saw it, and it was gone. So I was disappointed. This week, if you're an ARG, we're going to be covering text games. And both the games we're covering, I believe, we're doing our Amiga ports of the games.
Oh, wow.
So if you want to watch more Amiga content coming on ARG this week, but of course it's the text-based version.
Yeah. Now, Pixels at Dawn has put up some exclusive content related to the Southwest Amiga group. And actually, Dave, one of the organizers, is here in the chat with us right now. But anyway, this is the guy that made the Checkmate
Man, these are
case.
These are so awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
I've been following this since Jump Street, and I'm like, man, that looks so good. They're doing it the right way too, and I'm not just saying it because I love it. We talked about this off air many times. I'm like, man, look at this thing; it's gonna be awesome. So when I saw this pop up from the show, I was pleased.
Looks like we've had a little...
I've developed some sort of cataract. There we go.
So yeah, he's got the whole talk from this guy up here, Stephen Jones.
Now, is Stephen Jones the same fellow that interviewed the guy from Cloanto? I believe.
Oh, okay.
Somebody in the chat room, stop me if I'm wrong.
There can't be that many Stephen Jones.
No,
in the Amiga scene.
I know.
It's like having more than one Paul Harrington. Paul Kitching. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Jason says I'm right. So yeah.
He's also put up a talk that Pixel Vixen did.
Yes.
Oh, this is not the right video.
Good friend of the show.
Yeah. She did a tutorial on Deluxe Paint. Over at Swag that was very well received. This video has gotten quite a few hits, and Pixel Vixen's got a great way of teaching. She breaks things down. I've watched a couple of her live streams, and they're always entertaining. I'm not what you call an artiste.
Well, you're a musical artist. Your medium is music.
That's true. But I appreciate the craft, as it were, and she is a master of the craft.
Yeah, she's really good at explaining things.
Yeah,
it's not good enough to where I could draw anything. But I'm telling you, before the Amigathon, I'm going to be getting schooled up on all this Deluxe Paint stuff. So when it's time to go to war, I'm going to be ready with some art, I'll be ready to go.
Cool.
Not like last year where I looked like a complete idiot. That never happens on this show, and I was humiliated.
I definitely foresee another D-Paint challenge at Amigathon 2019.
There was one more Swag video too, where it's just like an overall tour,
right,
which was awesome.
Yeah,
that was another awesome one.
Yeah, so
I highly recommend you watch that, and it was very, very well received.
The best thing about that, Pixels did the map, the drawing, the line on the map that represented his travel thingy. I always wanted to do that. I wanted to do that with the Big Island. I couldn't figure out how to do it.
I remember him talking in Discord how difficult that was.
Yeah.
That's what made it better.
Yeah.
Because when I watched it again, I'm like, man, I could see him struggling at the computer
with
his hand like this on a drink and his hand going, no.
All right, Aaron. It's time to wrap things up. But before we go, I've got to announce the winners of 2 weeks ago's Patreon Song Challenge. We did not do the Patreon Song Challenge last week. We were doing episode 200. Speaking of which, thank you all so much for your response to episode 200. It was a really fun show. So we're hoping to start our next 200.
Yeah.
This is episode 1 of our next 200.
My God, in episode 400, what are we going to be covering? We found a basic game when stuck in the bottom of a disc caddy.
So last week's Patreon Song Challenge winners were Gary Hucker, Andy Craig, Terry Howard, Pac Billy, and Pixels at Dawn. The song was Old Time Rock and Roll.
That's what that was?
By Bob Seger.
Man, I didn't get that.
Where do you stand on Bob Seger?
Bob Seger is he's like the Mendoza line of music. I sort of like him. I sort of don't like him. He's like the gatekeeper of what I like. If you're better than him, you're in.
Do you want to explain the Mendoza line for our European listeners that have no idea what you're talking about?
There's a fellow in the major leagues who was a
this is baseball, Major League
player. His lifetime batting average, what was it, 263 or something?
It was something like that, yeah.
And that's known as, his name was Mendoza, and forever that's been known as the Mendoza line. If you're hitting for average under the Mendoza line, you got real problems.
You're going down to the minors.
I think it was like 230 something. I can't remember.
263 seems high.
Because that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
So when you I don't think I've ever referenced that on the show before, but if you if you are doing worse than Mendoza line, not good. But Bob Seger, he's on the Mendoza line. He's got songs I really like and songs I really hate.
I sort of feel the same way.
You know, like would I see him in concert? No.
I'd see him if he was over at the Regatta. I'd go check him out. Yeah, for free.
Oh yeah. He probably played over there too.
Probably so. Everybody's played over there. All right. If you know the answer to this week's Patreon Song Challenge, send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com.
What's that?
Mindspace. Gary Heather for E-Lunch, Kate Fox, David Pickford.
Oh, man, that was quick.
Cameron Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobs Terminator, Craig McClellan, 10 Minute Amiga, Educast Counting Virtual, Sheep, Bernard Quinn, Retroman, Cave Tim, Drew Simon, Rose, Joseph Harrison, Kyle Eder, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Lara, Moore, Andy Craig, Sean Zo, Darren Lowe, Max Collin, 419, Barkbit, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Kalan, Alan Kebab, Checote, Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRose, Creepy Dead Boy, Fig, C to Z the Slow, North Stefan, Sorgon Mortensen, Edvin Helen, Blender 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds, Dreamcatcher, Lauren Giroux, Graham Vebke, Lane Denson, Adabatas, Beal, Brian's Retro and Vintage, Gary Hucker, C. Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Tips from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Ruler, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim, Tommy Humbert, Stad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warren's Pixels of Dawn, and Kjolb, your barman. Yeah.
How many times was Kebab in there this time?
Kebab only there once this week.
You know, you reminded me of something when you mentioned Ravi in there. We should mention that a meeting of some of our favorite people happened this week where the guys over at Retro Hour interviewed the Guru Meditation
That's
guy.
right. I should have stuck that in the news.
So if you're a Retro Hour Guru Meditation fan, check that out. Those guys you get those four together. It's crazy time.
Oh yeah.
Crazy Amiga time, anyway.
Speaking of crazy Amiga time, Aaron, next week a game I've wanted to play literally for years has finally come up on the docket.
For years?
For years.
We have been doing this for years, so that's possible.
It is very possible.
It's not hyperbole.
Years and years.
All right, what do you got?
Megalomania, the game that launched 1,000 populaces.
I've heard a lot about this game. Is this going to be hard for old A?
No. I think this is a pretty low key deal.
Okay.
I've never played it and know nothing about it, so you can take my opinion for what you will.
This is not some sort of shooter, is what you're saying.
No.
This is one of those navigate menus and delegate authority. And,
it's a thinking man's game.
Oh, man, I'm the worst at those.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Until then, keep on playing the Amiga. Adios! All right.
I thought Megalomania. Isn't there an Atari 2600 game called that?
There is, I'm pretty sure.
It's not the same, is it?
I think it's a Activision
You
game.
do have it, Megamania.
Megamania. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Man, the Maginot line, big difference, dude. I saw that pop up. Quick, give me a little snippet of the good stuff before we move on. Not that. Not that. That's it. I just got to have another taste. This is like sweet ambrosia. It's a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You really liked that game, didn't you?
Yeah, man.
Man, I was surprised. That's plenty. It's more than enough. I'm surprised.
You know,
I thought it was. I mean, it was above average. I'll give you that. If you'd have played those levels I did, you may have changed your.
Probably, yeah, maybe so. I never played the shooting levels. And people just.
Pro Tracker Challenge. Are you nuts, Warrens? Holy God. Yeah.
Maybe we should do a Nordic Track Challenge.
I would go for that.
You'd probably outdo me now.
I've got good endurance I'm the world's. I'm like Vader. I'm an athletic big man.
Yeah.
Go to work.
You've got that treadmill set up here in the living room, so you've probably been practicing.
I'm working hard, Bo, even after your mockery. All it did was re-enthusiaze me.
That's what I do. I re-enthusiaze with the best.
What's wrong with me? Re-enthusiaze.
I like it. I like it a lot. My hands got cold. I have to put them behind my back like this for a while.
Now do the church lady dance.
Is that? I don't remember that. Is that
you
the Dana Carvey
church lady
thing?
For Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. Does she dance?
Yeah, just a little dance like a chicken. That's it.
I think about Arrested Development whenever I do that.
I mean, nobody watches the Saturday Night Live anymore, but at that point, people were actually still looking at it.
That's true. That's true.
I'm gonna get my notes up here. How was that? Did you think that was okay?
I thought it was all right.
Listen, I despite the fact that I didn't give it the best score, I immersed myself in that game.
I can't wait to talk about this one. I can't wait to hear about all the facts that you found out about Daley Thompson.
I did look him up.
Yeah.
How did you know?
You think I haven't been watching highlights all week on YouTube?
Yeah, really? I'm going to let you lead the charge on some of this, but I will go into some of the more particulars.
Yeah.
This guy's he's a bona fide, I mean, I'd heard of him, but
He's a real American hero.
Except he's not American.
No. What do you call people that aren't American?
You know what you reminded me of? Speaking of American heroes, you know I love Mary Lou Retton.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tag team out there called the Gym Nasties.
Okay.
There's 2 former gymnasts that turned super heel.
Really?
And one of them's name was like Billy Lou Retton or something like that. I was in. I can't wait to see him.
Billy Lou Retton. That's great. Okay.
Press play. Oh, sorry. All right. Y'all ready for another one?
I made the chat real small because I had to make the YouTube real big.
I don't need you to go bananas anymore. I mean, I can see him fine.
I know, but sometimes I like having it big.
Who here has visited the former Maginot Line? Because I think that would be fascinating. What do you know about the Maginot Line, Boat?
In Flanders Fields, the poppies grow.
Have you been to the Maginot Line?
No, I've never been there. I've never done a lot of World War I tourism.
You make it sound like I'm some sort of idiot for even mentioning it. That's what you're inferring.
You're not an idiot at all. You knew what the Maginot Line was.
So?
Most people would not.
Oh, they know.
I need to do something about this chair. Listen to this thing. It's like the squeakiest squeaky chair of all time.
That is smooth.
Oh, World War II, Maginot Line, World War II, not World War I.
As Zach Brannigan said, this whiskey's as smooth as a velvet child. That's exactly what it is. That's what it reminds me of. Yeah. Who's cooler, Zap Brannigan or Zap Rasdauer, in your opinion?
I have no idea who either of those people are.
Oh, man.
Are they both wrestlers?
If anyone in this chat room knows who Zap... Huh?
Are they both wrestlers?
No, neither one of them are. If anyone here knows who Zap Brannigan is, you will get some sort of kudo from me.
I like that you're wearing your Amiga Ireland shirt.
Listen, no one supports the Irish more than me.
That's true.
The amount of Irish whiskey that I've put away over my lifetime has probably funded several small parts of the country, at least. So, Bender, yeah, I know you know who Zap Brannigan is, but who's Zap Rasdauer?
Is that like that guy, that cool dog on The Simpsons, Poochie?
No. This is obscure. This is fairly obscure. Not with my people. Right.
Does Hose know who he is?
There's only 3 people I know. No, 4 people that should know who that is. So if anyone knows, I'm going to be ultra impressed. If you don't know, look him up. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for some Daley Thompson.
All right, we got to switch over.
Now, how are you going to play this? Am I going to go into my history crapiola?
Yeah, you are.
Listen, I didn't.
Oh, we got to do. That's all right. We'll do it on this show. I forgot about the mailbag.
We'll do it live.
All right, I got to ready my materials.
Do you know what's in this box?
Yeah, man.
Because I think is it a book?
No.
Okay.
But this other thing is a book.
Okay. You know about the book.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. No, we don't.
Also, you got to change that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Daley Thompson's Decathalon.
Yeah, man. All right, yeah.
Speaking of decathlons, Aaron, you're in the midst of a sort of decathlon of the scale.
That's true.
Amigo Aaron's weight loss wager is going on. This is a little cross promotion with our other show, the Amigos. For our annual Amiga Charity Marathon, you are raising funds through a weight loss pledge drive.
I prefer to look at it like I'm raising funds through pain. I'm suffering imaginable pain as I try to lose this weight. It's been brutal.
Well, someone has sent a package to help.
Oh, yeah?
I received in the mail, Aaron, this book, Eat Rich, Live Long. Now, this came unmarked. I have no idea who sent it to us. So if you sent it to us, let me know and we can thank you. But this says, use the power of low carb and keto for weight loss and great health.
I think it's awesome. It's funny because I've heard keto mentioned a lot during my efforts. And I may actually submit to the keto for the last month here. I'm not going to lie to you, Bode. The Amigo Weight Loss Challenge has gone well, but it could be going much, 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 much better. I may have overestimated my abilities a tad, but that much said, we're on the good track.
Laurent Giroux sent the book.
Yes, and in fact, he actually got with me, and he also is also dieting.
Oh, okay.
I
So
guess
it's a
I'm okay.
team
I wasn't
effort.
gonna mention it, but since you said that, I'm gonna, because I didn't want to know if he wanted to be named as a dieter. But yes, he's
Called out as a
he's
dieter.
amongst my dirty breed. And we were going to, we're gonna shock the world, Boat, by losing a ton of weight. Me and my good buddy Ron. And this is a nice gift, by the way. And I do appreciate it, and I will not just sit on the shelf.
I've already thought about a good duo, a good tag team for you guys. The Priest and the Pirate.
Which one am I?
Come on now.
What?
You always talk about how Laurent is the conscience of this show.
He is.
Yeah.
And so I'm the scumbag. That's what you're saying.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
At least I can live with it. One of your many insults. Keep them coming.
We also got this very hefty package.
Okay.
From one Gary James.
Oh, thank you, Laurent.
Who sent it straight to Amigos Studios.
Gary James, our good buddy of Odyssey fame.
Yeah, so Gary is very famous throughout the retro community at large, but most famous for porting Odyssey 2 games over to the Amiga.
And even putting us in one, which is awesome.
Killer Bees and KC Munchkin are just a few of his efforts. He's sent us
I think he did.
a box full of games, and these are Spectrum games.
Oh boy!
So I've
Gary, you didn't have to do that.
He packed these very well. I was going to unbox them and start to play them before the show, but I knew I'd never be able to put them back like this.
Time to have a look at
these. So we got BMX Racers.
Oh man.
Okay. This is a Codemasters Ski Simulator Oliver Twins. All over that one.
Listen, you know this is gold.
Yeah. Universal Hero. Look at this guy. You think he's got stories to tell?
My God. That's the way I feel after work every day. Just a big tongue and waggling out.
Check this out. This is a Killer Bees promotional flyer.
Oh.
You think that's not rare?
That is outstanding.
That needs to go up on Amigo Studios East wall right there.
That will be well displayed, sir. Look at that. Where did you come across that? I gotta ask.
Okay, we've got a ZX Spectrum Guide to Basic Programming. Can you imagine programming? I mean, millions and millions of kids did it in the 80s on that rubber keyboard.
Gary didn't send you that to put on your shelf.
That's true.
Get busy. When I come back here in a couple weeks, I want to see some basic program.
I'm going to jump right into Chapter 12, Arrays.
Oh man, is that where your learning begins?
Yeah.
There you go. What if this is a famous, basic program? I'm guessing that if you're like the Atari, they released 400 million of these little basic books.
The covers are always the most attractive things. They lure you in.
Not this one. It looks like there's a nuclear blast going off.
That's the power of the Spectrum.
If you don't harness the power of basic, this could be the result. We could all be killed through nuclear annihilation.
Okay, we have yet another. Oh no, this is a BMX simulator.
Oh man!
So the Oliver Twins did a couple simulator games.
I believe it. I'm dizzy, not involved. That's the one thing I don't believe.
Oh, look at this Hella Chopper. This is in the silver £1.99 range.
I bet this is hella good. Look at that black. Look at that.
Yeah.
Firebird.
That's when they made cassettes like
cool guy style.
Yeah, right. Look at this. We'll leave this up. Daley Thompson's Decathalon. As timely as today's headlines.
I wonder if it's complete with little card. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Now look at that boat. Isn't that nice? That is perfectly timed.
Mm-hmm.
How could he have known?
We've got a classic ZX Spectrum chess. I think we already own this one, so I'll let you take this one with you to add to the Amigo Studios East.
We have a double.
Yeah, we've got a double.
That is stunning.
We've got, man, the simulator titles just don't stop because, get ready, Aaron. What can £1.99 get you? Nothing better than Ninja Scooter Simulator. I am not making this up.
Selection committee, you are duly warned. This must be here. Ninja Scooter Simulator. After he's finished golfing, it's time for a little scooting. He scooted off the back.
May have to replace that case.
I think that's the way it came.
Agent X? What's that remind you of?
Wrestling.
Is there a wrestler named Agent X?
There's a Dr. X. Maybe they're related. Agent X sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
It does. 3D Bat Attack.
Oh, God.
Man, could you imagine anything more frightening?
This is Bat Country, boat. 3D Bat Attack. That sounds hideous.
Have you ever read that? Did you ever read Fear and Loathing?
I saw the movie. I never read it.
I'm thinking about reading it this summer.
I don't know if it's your cup of tea.
It might not be. He doesn't seem like he might be.
If you want a drug addict's vision of the world, that'd probably be the one to go with.
Oh, Mummy. by Jim Software.
I love that. Another great album bit. I mean, look at the front of the picture on that. These two
that's
goofs
great.
Like, what the? Look like they just. What are they doing in a tomb? Look at them.
Yeah,
Looks
it's
like
like
they hopped
Wallace
out
and
of the
Gromit.
store.
Yeah. Okay, we got Checkered Flag, classic racing
Now
title.
wait a minute. Did we cover this on like another show?
I don't think so. I don't think we've done this one yet.
Checkered Flag. Okay, I like these ones that have the little back part.
Yeah, that's like.
Man, there's a ton of these in
Yeah,
there.
man, they just keep coming. Motorbike Madness.
Okay.
Okay.
Motorbikes. Motorbikes were a big deal.
Yeah,
in the
they
80s.
were.
Did you ever ride a motorbike?
My friends, they always talked about their dirt bike at home, and I wanted a dirt bike so bad. I rode a motorcycle for the first time solo when I was in Thailand.
Yeah.
And I about killed myself immediately.
Really?
So.
There's a lot of people were out driving over there. I've seen that video you showed me. It's crazy time.
Yeah. This was in a rural area.
I would never drive one.
Devil's Crown is next.
Cool. Now see, that's a good name. That's the kind of game I would pick.
Yeah.
Now, and these are all, I wonder if these are all 48K. I haven't been looking. I'm assuming they are.
I think that they probably are. There might be a 128K stuck in here somewhere. Grand Prix Simulator.
Prix. My God, they simulated everything on the
They
Spectrum.
did. They did.
Ooh, look at,
Why bother living?
listen, look at
You
that.
can just-
Look at the screenshots. Enough said.
Yeah.
Over the top racing glory. I'm in.
There's going to be that guy that eats the cigar in
A
there
selection
too.
committee. And what is your obsession with that guy? I really listened to
He's
last
from
week's
over the
show.
top.
So, that's just keep. You're out of your mind.
2 words for you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Mad Nurse.
Man, whoa, that don't sound too good. Mad nurse.
Right out of Benny Hill. There you go.
Listen, the last thing you want is a mad nurse coming to take care of you. They got eerie powers.
Okay, we've simulated almost everything. It's time to simulate pinball, advanced pinball simulator.
Oh, now we haven't played any pinball on the Spectrum.
I can't wait to check out what the Spectrum can do.
You know,
with
they've
the
got
pin.
that. Don't they have the new Pinball Fantasies or Pinball Dreams coming from the Spectrum? Isn't that the one
That's the Amstrad.
Oh, it's the
Amstrad.
Amstrad.
Yeah. Okay, coming up next, we've got. I'm just going to let you read this one.
All right. What do we got here? What the hell? Milk race?
I don't even know what that means. Is that a proper British term? Like,
Oh, it's
honey, I might not be coming home.
No,
I got
check
the
this
milk
out.
race
Listen.
tonight.
The superb race simulator designed especially to coincide with this year's milk race. So it must be like an actual name of a race.
Right. Probably, maybe.
Or maybe it's like they get a bunch of crazy milkmen together and just turn them loose.
That's
and
what I
fight.
was thinking of.
That's
Or
what
maybe
I-
some milkmaids.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
there's a guy on the front.
You ever see that poster that came in the Queen Jazz album?
No.
All right. So, up
My
next.
God.
This is right up
How
our
did he get all
man.
these in that little box?
Professional snooker simulator.
Ooh,
We're all over this bad boy.
Man. Look at that. That guy looks eerily familiar, that generic version.
Yeah, he does.
Jimmy White.
That's the whirlwind right there.
That's Jimmy Clear.
Yeah.
He's not quite white.
Gary James just showed up in the chat. Perfect
Gary.
timing, Gary.
Good Lord, Gary. You went above and beyond, my friend.
Okay, here is another. This is another Oliver Twins title, 3D Starfighter.
Ooh, Starfighter. Ooh, this has a 128K version on it. Bud.
Yeah, it was a dual deal. I think they did that a lot in the.
Is that what they
later
were called?
days.
The dual
Yeah,
deal?
The dual deal.
The dual deal.
It's a double D.
Let me see if they actually have that label on the side. Keep going. I'm just reading
Okay.
this.
Uh,
Maybe it works on both, but it's
Finishing out the box here, we've got Pixels at Dawn's one of his favorite Spectrum games, ATV Simulator.
Oh yeah.
This is when ATVs were huge. You remember when the ATVs burst on the scene in the 80s?
They're still huge around here.
Oh yeah, we got ATVs out the yin yang.
This is dirt track and fun, Boat.
Of course it is. I played that at our inaugural Classic Computer Club meeting.
Look, Paul loves it too. Look at them. They're losing it.
And finally, Horizons Software Starter Pack.
What's that mean?
An introductory software cassette for the ZX Spectrum. Includes a comprehensive keyboard trainer and an entertaining and illuminating range of programs.
Ooh.
You know what this reminds you of? Did you ever, when you got a car, did you ever get the tape that came with the car that showed off the audio system?
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what this thing reminds
That's what that
me
is.
of. Yeah.
It's a little recreation of the keyboard right there. Beautiful. Jeez, thank you very much, Gary.
Man, Gary, you've gone above and beyond. We're going to be set for years, and I'm going to do several special streams, and I'm gonna play all these games. I'm going to grab Graham's gift of old Pulteney. Let's cozy on up to the old 48K and go to town.
everything will be gift related. Gift booze, gift tapes, gift computer.
That's right.
I love it.
And the spectrum from the Huck.
That's awesome. I'm going to leave Daley out.
All right.
We're doing it. I got to find out where I put it.
Now, how many of these cassettes should we leave on the table? One, okay.
And we'll just pull them out whenever we do.
Oh, that's true. Good idea. Good idea.
That's awful nice of you, Gary. It really is. And we get gifts, and we really appreciate all of them. Much like the healthy living book here, we need all the help we can get.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
It's amazing.
It's beyond words how baffled we are when we get anything in the mail.
Yeah. And the box that he selected fits these games perfectly. I mean,
that's almost. It's like he used PK Zip in the real world to keep this out.
Okay, Aaron.
Here we go.
It's time to talk about Daley Thompson. Let's throw down with some hard-hitting Olympic action.
Well, let's talk about the man himself.
Okay.
Shall we? Now, let me ask you, Bo, just right off the cuff here. What is your knowledge of Daley Thompson? Like, what do you know about the actual man?
He's British.
Right, that's true.
Okay, he's a national hero in England.
I've heard that, yeah.
Multi-year Olympian.
Yes, that's also true. So, did you know all this before the game? You just knew this?
I knew this only because of the game.
Oh, okay.
Only because of the game.
All right.
And he has several hundred videos on YouTube, most of which I've watched.
Mm-hmm. First of all, get this guy's real name: Francis Morgan Ayodele Thompson.
Really?
Yeah.
How did he come up with Daley out of that?
That middle part, Ayodele. There's a lot of little schwas, and I don't know what
the schwas.
So that maybe butchering that. Born the year of our Lord 1958, 60-year-old man in Notting Hill, London. Have you been there?
Not been there. It's a ritzy part of London, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? So yes, this man was a decathlon gold medalist. Get this, he won the gold medal in the night. And we know a little thing about decathletes because Bruce Jenner was a tremendous.
True.
I'm a big fan of the old Bruce Jenner. I mean, say what you want about what he's gotten into recently, but in his day, he was probably the American version of Thompson.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was back when the Olympics were a much bigger deal than they are now, too.
That's true. And I loved him. He was on the Wheaties box. It was a big deal. So that's sort of like our version. And I don't think he won as much gold as Mr. Daley. So he won gold in 1980 Moscow, which, as I recall, that's the year America sat out that year.
And then Moscow retaliated in '84.
To which he also won gold there. So
he played both sides.
Look at it. So if he won gold in both, clearly this guy's the best decathlete in the world.
Absolutely.
He had many world championships, European championships. He was a stud. He could go big time. He was a great athlete, and he was a record breaker. He did awesome. He broke records at the Olympics. I'm not going to go into various decathlon records because I don't understand how they work. It's point based. It's real wacky. He got injured, and in 1990 he was pretty much about done. So
still pretty good career.
Yeah, absolutely. Now all that said, when you're a big time athlete, what do? You sponsor stuff.
Yeah, right? You do. Because that's your retirement fund right there.
I'm guessing this fellow probably had some action all over the place, and I wouldn't know. Some people in Discord might say if this guy was on cereal boxes, if he had crisps or
Jaffa cakes. He was right there with Colin Curley, arm around him.
That's
yeah.
See, I like that picture right there. He's a handsome man. You can see right here, he's got that good hair.
Yeah.
Beard, mustache.
He's really got that look that you want from your Olympic athlete.
He reminds me of me.
Yeah.
To be honest, if I had nice hair, we'd be very similar. So when you're a super big time winner, you get a video game.
Yeah, you do.
And not just some lame game. You get the best. And that's what you've got here with Daley Thompson's Decathlon. Released in 1984. Tremendous year for games. We've talked about this
My
before.
favorite year in video games.
You're not wrong, Boat, on that. And this was authored by, another one of these. I've noticed there's a lot of these three-man teams that work on these things. You had Paul Owens on here. Now, he also worked on Daley Thompson's Super Test, which you've played. And I'm guessing it's more of the same. I've not played that.
No, Super Test is much different, actually. You think it would be more of the same,
really?
But there's all kinds of wacky events in Super Test. Super Test, I don't want to give too much away, but Super Test is a much more interesting game than this is.
He also, Mr. Owens also worked on a game that's near and dear to my heart, Dragon Ninja, a.k.a. Bad Dudes. I'm bad. You know, I love that game. Also worked on Greiser and the Hunchback series. If you've ever played the Hunchbacks, I'm familiar with those. He also worked on a game that another one I want to put on the list, and I'm hoping this is based on a TV show. He worked on Street Hawk.
I don't know what that is.
I'm hoping Ocean licensed Street Hawk, the show, and made a game out of it.
What is the Street Hawk show?
Street Hawk was it was an American television show that came on right around the same time that Knight Rider was on. And they were and Manimal. In fact, I think they may have been back to back. But Street Hawk was about a super duper computerized motorcycle.
Okay.
But the one thing Street Hawk could do that no other motorcycle on Earth can do is if you did donuts, real tight donuts, it could fly straight up.
Wow.
One of the all-time great bits, and it's right there with Auto Man's cornering car and ludicrousness. But yeah, Street Hawk can fly. So I'm hoping that's what that is. The other fellas that worked on this, Christian F. Urquhart. Let's go with that. He worked. Now listen to this one. Another one of my favorites. He worked on a game called Augie and Doggy Daddy. Remember the Augie Doggy and Daddy Doggy, the Hanna-Barbera cartoon?
This is the El Kabong, right?
No, I mean same group but different guys. Augie Daddy and Doggy. Oh, Doggy boy, oh Daddy, I love you. You don't remember those guys?
No.
Well, they were. It's before your time. He also, how about this one, Beaver Bob? He worked on that. You can laugh at that one. And then the last fella, and this guy worked on another one, Robot Messiah. That sounds pretty good. And Yeti. So there's a lot of good ones there. And then the last guy, F. David Thorpe, he worked on both the beat. Now listen to this, okay? I'm guessing this guy did the music, but I mean, listen to this lineup, but this is not everything he did. Both the Beachheads, Batman, Blue Max, all right, Bruce Lee, Buck Rogers, Conan, Kung Fu Master, Rambo.
Wow.
yeah, Spy Hunter, Super Grand. Got to see that one.
Super Grand, that, yeah.
Tapper, V, I'm assuming based on the TV show. Man, the Spectrum, it's like the hokey TV port master.
I can't think of anything that would make me happier to play these games.
Winter Game and World Games and Yar Kung Fu and Zaxxon and tons more. So this guy's, he played the full slate of arcade and home conversions. I love it. So this game, as you can probably tell, is for the 48K. It says right there at the top, Spectrum 48K. And you can use your joystick or the keyboard. Now, before we even get into before we even get into the game, you chose to use the joystick.
I did.
As I usually do with the Spectrum, use the keyboard. And I have a feeling that I probably did better at this than you did.
Probably so.
Because the keyboard is the way to go, in my opinion, on this particular one. This was also published, as I mentioned, by Ocean Software. So, what is Daley Thompson's Decathlon? Well, here's what it is. It's track and field. It's track and field straight up with some extra events. They don't try to hide it. They actually revel in their theft. I mean, this game, it does not care if anyone's offended. It stole track and field. Now, sometimes some people that look at a game like this might be appalled at this theft, but I commend it, and I'll tell you why. I come from the Cocoa, where stealing stuff that's the way you play any game. And I can tell you, this is the best version of a stolen track and field I've ever been a part of. This was gold. They didn't leave out anything. You enter your initials the same way. You, of course, you've got it's hot seat, but the events work exactly the same way. There is no difference at all. Except the added events.
There is a difference.
Yeah,
and it's in this game's favor.
Okay.
In track and field, it's possible to game over.
Oh, yeah.
In this game, you play all the events every time. Okay, and that makes it a winner in my book, because there are some events that I just never saw in track and field because I couldn't get past the high jump. The high jump, impossible for me. So this game, they made it. You
They
obviously
carried that over into this game, by the way.
Yeah, you obviously don't score on the events that you can't pass, but you can pass them, and it just affects your high score at the end. A winning take.
Yes. Now, there's a lot of wackiness to this game that we got to talk about. Number one, this is almost like two separate games in a weird way. because you've got day 1 of the decathlon on the first side of the tape, and then the second side you got day 2, and you can just go right to day 2, and it's like a whole different game. I mean, it's a whole separate game.
Well, it's different events.
But my point is, I like that.
Yeah.
They used everything they had.
It's like 2 games in 1.
And they didn't just, like, track and field's got, what, 5 events, something like that, maybe 6. This thing's got some nuttier events. So let's go over some of the events, because you enter the name the same way. There's not that much of a difference. Here's the events you're going to be looking at here. On day 1, you've got your 100-meter dash. Okay, we'll just go these one at a time because they deserve some talk.
Sure.
100-meter dash. Boat, tell them what you do on this.
Pure waggle.
That's right. Or in my case, pound the
pure
keyboard.
mash.
That's right. And go as fast as you can. Try to beat the score. Now, I noticed that the qualifying scores are not that tough. I've managed to qualify in most events.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the long jump. Again, just like it is in track and field. In fact, in the same order, as I recall. That was the next event in track and field. You whack the buttons as fast as you can. When you get to the line, you hold the button down for your angle, and you jump before the line, and you shoot. And we should also mention that when your guy finishes the event, he even celebrates like almost exactly like the guys in track and field.
By the way, do you know the name of the award-winning track and field esports duo?
No.
Bangers and Mash.
I don't know what. Is that a joke? I don't know what.
Move on.
My God, man, get the vegetables out. So you've got long jump, and again, I qualified this quite easy. So we'll talk about how we did.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you got on these.
This was no problem.
Yeah. Then you've got the shot put. Okay, now.
This event not appearing in track and field.
Not appearing in track and field, and shot put is that you run up to the line and you throw the shot put.
This is what you attempted in your high school days, right?
Once.
Yeah.
I didn't go too good. Now, I liked shot put. Actually, it was. I mean, it was what it was. It's like they combined long jump with hammer.
Well,
throw.
what it is shot put is the javelin. It's exactly the same event.
The run up and the angles are a little bit different, I'm guessing. But yeah, it got to be close. Still, it's in there. I like it. And I qualified on that one. Then you've got the high jump. Now, much like the arcade, this is far and away the most difficult thing until you get to the pole vault.
This is one of these things where the same thing always happens to me because I go for so long between spurts of playing track and field. I fail twice. I finally make that first jump. I say, yes! And then I realize I've got to make 3 additional jumps just to get to the height to qualify.
Yeah. So that's a tough one. I'll have to say I did not qualify on that one. I just kind of rolled past it. Then you've got the 400 meters. 400 meters, it's like 100 meters except 4 times as long. You just take off and run. Not that bad. Now, especially if you play David Crane's Decathalon where you've got like the 1,500 meters, and it's not like this 1,500 meters. We'll get to that in a moment. That's day 1. Thompson goes home, has a cold one.
That's right. Relaxes.
Has a bacon sandwich. Gets ready for that. Is that what they eat?
That's what they eat.
It's a little chocolate donuts like John Belushi used to eat. Then it's day 2. Flip the tape. So now day 2 starts off.
You know what they call a bacon sandwich in England?
I don't.
They call it a buddy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, a bacon buddy.
Well, there you go. Why?
I don't know. I always found that odd.
That is strange.
But that's what they call it.
So on day 2, the first thing out of the gate is the 110-meter hurdles. Let's talk about these hurdles. I can go through this event quite nicely in the arcade. On here, I was running through hurdles like an idiot. I managed to clear a hurdle every once in a while, but I was horrible at this event, and I also never qualified. Did you?
I never missed a hurdle in this event.
Really?
And maybe it's because I was using the stick. I don't know, but I never missed a hurdle.
It might be. I had all kinds of trouble with the hurdles. I'll be honest with you. That was a tough event. And then keeping up the toughness, pole vault, not easy. It's tough to determine where to lay that pole in. I sucked at that event.
Yeah, this was my. Actually, I think that I'm even worse at pole vault than I am with the long jump. The high jump.
They're both very difficult. Yeah. Now, these are events that once you did it long enough, you would probably get better at it. And I don't know how many times you went through. I played through these events probably 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, I love these kind of games.
I'd get bored at work, and I'd load it up and be like, well, that's because it's track and field.
Right.
I'll take some of that. So then you get into the more wacky event. You've got the discus. Now, the discus is exactly like the hammer throw in the arcade, except you're throwing a discus. You're in a little cage, and they don't use a cage in the real life discus.
No, you got to stay out of the way.
I like the idea that they in this version of the discus, they're so worried that you'll wing the discus in the crowd or something that they put a little cage ready. Can you imagine? Because I think you're pretty like I've seen Tron. I know those things can do.
Yeah, you can hurl that thing if you know what you're doing.
What are those things made out of? Like made of steel or something?
It's like a composite.
Of what? You don't know what that even means, do you?
I don't know what that means. I heard it when I was trying to replace my deck.
There you go. God only knows what you built that with. So once you get past, and I did get past the discus, but I'm not going to lie to you, it was probably every time I ever got past it, it's just sheer luck.
Yeah, that's the way
it's harder to time this than it is the hammer throw in the arcade.
I always had trouble with the hammer throw in the arcade too. So.
In the arcade, you watch the meter, and when you get to a certain point, I knew when to hit the button, and usually it would work. And this, I wasn't good enough. Eventually, I could get it, but not every time. So then you've got the javelin. Now the javelin, I destroyed the javelin. I threw this sucker. I told you almost 112 meters of hot javelin action.
The javelin, I believe, is an event that is no longer fielded in most track teams. I think because of danger of kill. I think someone died in a javelin incident.
What?
Why
someone was killed with a javelin?
You never see people throwing the javelin anymore. When was the last time you saw somebody throwing the javelin?
I don't watch a lot of track and field events.
I'm telling you, like from like a
school
perspective.
Got phased out?
Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore. It's like jarts. It's over.
It's not like jarts.
It's exactly like jarts.
To be fair, javelins were designed to murder people in
True.
real life.
So were jarts.
No, they weren't. Would you face down Hannibal and a fleet of elephants with jarts? With a javelin, you might give it a shot. That's my point.
I don't know. Jarts are kind of deadly.
When speaking of jarts, they had those, which are lawn darts, always talking about, but those things were killing people. Eyes were getting poked out.
That's right,
dogs,
man.
And stuff. So they replaced them. So my mom bought me these things. She's like, "You don't need any jarts." Here's what I got. It was 2 rings and these things that were like plastic rounded bottoms on a stick. Well, the things were made of lead. They were big, heavy. They were like little hammers.
Right.
And you would wing these, and they would, if you threw them like you were supposed to, they'd hit the ground. They wouldn't roll. They would they wouldn't stick. They just land. But what do kids do? We would pound each other.
Oh yeah.
Throw them at each other.
Deadly weapon.
Who thought that was a good idea?
We used to play jarts over my neighbor's house. Like sneak attack, it would be like playing Battleship, where you'd go where you thought the person was, you'd fling it over the roof. I'm not lying. I can show you the house where we did this.
You threw jarts at each other?
Yeah, we did.
Did we ever get hit?
Nope.
That's hideously stupid. But.
Yes.
So, anyway, I like this event. I guess what I'm saying. Then you've got, and I thought this was sort of the most fascinating event, really, in a lot of ways. The 1,500 meters. Now, when I first saw this come up, I thought, oh boy, my hands are going to be bloody and
Decathlon
beaten.
Style, yeah.
And so we fired this up. Well, this is more of a...
it's a thinking man's running game.
It's like a strategy. So what did I do to start? I pounded the buttons like
right.
an idiot. My guy's energy went...
He immediately collapsed and died.
The energy bar on this one. And so what you've got to do is you've got to try to get a certain speed up while keeping your guy's energy up. And you can do it once you fiddle with it. You can get I'm sure there's a perfect, like a golden ratio in there of energy to, thing. But I will say I enjoyed it a lot more, although it's funny, a lot of times you sit there watching the guy run.
Right.
And this guy runs like, I will say we should mention the graphics and whatnot. I'm assuming that you're actually playing as Daley.
I would think so.
And so he runs like Deion Sanders. I mean, he's a high step towards the end zone. I mean, that's what he reminded me of.
I never thought about that, but you're right. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Deion Sanders, American football player, when he gets a pick, he does this high step dance. A lot of guys do it. And that's what, Daley Thompson, a man very proud of himself. So I can picture him telling the programmers, make me look cool. And they're like, okay, Daley. And that's what they did. He celebrates a lot like the guy in track and field, but except he's more like the guy in track and field's like, yeah, like sort of like a geek.
Yeah. This guy flex.
This guy's like, yeah.
That's right.
I hear Daley Thompson going, that's the way you do it.
Yeah, that's right.
I've never heard him talk, but I'm assuming he sounds like Shaft. I don't know why.
Well, he's a black man with a mustache.
Well, yeah, maybe that could be what it is. So the events are all done behind a large crowd blocking ocean wall of doom.
Right. So
apparently these games were held in Berlin.
Well, I was going to say, what this reminds me of is the old multi-purpose baseball stadiums, where the crowd was located 3 to 4 miles behind the action.
It reminds me, it's like, what would happen if they conducted the Olympics at the Berlin Wall, and all the poor people on the bad side of town just had to look over the wall.
All they're missing is Hasselhoff giving a concert up there.
That's right. Ekman I Berliner. So, but I mean, it does have sort of a scrolling to it. You know, there's a little ditty.
Little parallax.
Between events, it'll announce what the events, and it plays this like probably the best sound I've heard out of the Spectrum.
In fact, I double checked that I wasn't playing the 128K version when I heard that music for the first time.
There's no harmony. It's just a cool. It's like.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. It was
like a synthesizer sound.
It's just like a Kraftwerk album, baby.
It is.
Yeah.
Now is the time when we dance. You know, the sprockets. But it's good. It's pretty good. Overall impressions, Boat. I mean, like I said, we're not looking at something that's wholly original. Let's put it that way. What do you think?
You know, I think that a lot of people, when they played this game for the first time, probably had no exposure to the arcade game Track and Field. You know, arcades just weren't what they were here.
I don't know. Maybe I never thought about it. I find that hard to believe.
Dude. It's not. England's not like America. There weren't arcades in every corner. I'm not saying
these seaside arcades. Everybody used to go there on holiday.
I'm not saying that the developers never heard of this game. Obviously, the developers played a great deal of Track and Field.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that a good majority of the kids that played this game for the first time thought that Daley Thompson invented this genre.
You could be right.
The chat agrees with me immediately, by the way.
I mean, one guy?
Yes.
One guy
He represents the chat. He's a representative of a chat-like species.
Did they elect Pixels to be their king? I doubt that. You know, you've got a point, though. If they had not been exposed to this would appear like the awesomest game ever.
Yes.
And so and they're like, what's going on me? I don't know what that is. That much said, if you're going to rip somebody off, rip them off thoroughly and completely, and then try to make it slightly better. That's what they did. I've played this Decathalon, of course, an incomparable David Crane Decathalon, which I mentioned earlier. If I had to pick between the two, I would play this one. And there's one main reason, because David Crane's Decathlon has more events. It's got probably better sound, but it is a dire game to play.
It is. It is hell
They call
on
this
earth.
a joystick buster. You've not seen joystick buster until you play David Crane's Decathlon. That thing is just brutal.
Yeah.
And when you're playing the marathon parts of that, you're sitting there waggling that joystick for like 15 minutes. It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
You know, so I will say that I think this is the better of the two Decathlon games. I much said I like them. I like the little intros. I like the way it's presented. The colors, the graphics are all perfectly serviceable, and the sound is fine. And when you play this on a keyboard, my rule is, can I play this on the keyboard and get the same feeling that I get when I'm playing Track and Field? Yes. Yes, 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 1,000 times yes. I wholeheartedly endorse this. I like this better than Hyper Sports that we played. I think this is your, in terms of sports games, this is King Dong so far on the spec. You agree with that?
Agree 100%.
You know, something else we should mention, that me and you love this game.
Yeah.
So I mean, we love Track and Field.
Right.
We love it.
Right.
We're in love with it.
I like the Track and Field angle. I like the sports entertainer angle. We've talked about on Amigos several times. Our favorite sports games are those that feature celebrities of the day, and we've learned so much about British athletics. I don't know if you can call Jockey Wilson what he does athletics.
Hey, I do.
But we've learned so much, and like I said, I went back and watched a ton of Daley Thompson highlights on YouTube. It's been great. This is a great game. 2 thumbs up.
Now, I will say this. Now, I was going to ask you if this was released on, aside from the spec, it was also out on the Amstrad and the C64. Did you have a look at those at all? I did not.
Did not.
Since we didn't. Now, this game was very well received, Boatster. So, it was the biggest selling Spectrum game of Q4 1984. It won the award for Best Overall Arcade Game in Crash Magazine's Readers Awards. It won the Best Arcade-Style Game of the Year at the Golden Joysticks Awards. Pretty good.
Very good.
Those all sound like very important awards.
High accolades.
The scores on this would reflect its success. World of Spectrum, the people over there have given this an 8.13. Sinclair user, 8 out of 10. The people at your Sinclair, 4 out of 5, 3.5 out of 5, 3 out of 5. And all of which are good scores. I think this game has actually been under-reviewed. Again, if you're going to do a track and field ripoff, make it awesome. And this thing, I mean, you can play this and be perfectly satisfied with your track and field experience. Now, a couple things I found before we close the book on this, and I had to mention them because they're so wacky. There's all kinds of bugs and cheats in this. Did you look into this at all?
No.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just going to mention a couple
here.
Okay. So one of the things that I thought was funny is when you run I think it's the very first race, if you don't start the race and just stand around and just ho-hum your way to the end, the timer will go all the way to the end and then reset to 0, and then you can just cross the finish line and have like an unbelievable score.
Oh my gosh, wow.
You know, if in the high jump, if you run until you're directly on the bar and then jump and you hold down the button down, you'll go underneath the bar, you won't knock it over, and it'll register you as passing the test.
I should have done that.
Yeah, I know, I love that stuff. In the long jump, if you land on the taking off line, if you land on taking off line, you do a jump of over 100 meters.
Oh my god!
I also read there's a way you can do like a 400-meter jump.
Wow!
God knows how. There's all kinds of stuff, wacky cheats in this, and if you go to World of Spectrum, they've got like a link to like a cheat site, and there's also tons and tons of pokes and peeks, which I don't normally go into, but this game is rife with them. There's tons of crazy things you can do.
Well, I'm hopeful that sooner or later we'll get to the sequel, because the sequel really is something special.
Oh,
the Super Test.
Yeah.
Because you're taking place kicks in soccer, you're firing automatic machine guns, you're doing whatever it takes to make it happen.
What in God's name was Daley Thompson doing?
It's a wacky game for sure.
One last bit of business. Oh, I just read something funny. Promotional activities. Thompson was also well known for his appearances in the commercial for the drink Lucasade.
Oh!
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he didn't make an appearance in Super Frog.
He's also the brand ambassador for a travel agency. So there you go. As we suspected, he was involved in stuff. On eBay, you can find these if you look around. $7 will take you to the money bank on those. Well worth your $7, and we want to thank our good buddy Gary for setting us up good and proper. Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. We did get some Discord reviews this
beautiful.
week. Chris Fold says, it's a defining joystick waggler sports game for the Spectrum, neatly tied with a guy who was a national hero. A game forever implanted on my brain. So much I own a replica of the box art signed by the artist.
Oh, now if you could only get the man himself to sign it.
Oh,
Daley.
yeah.
He's still around, right? I mean,
yeah, I think he's still living.
Listen, who's that Folds?
Yeah.
Go take care of, go meet the man.
Right. Graham Vebke says, while Daley Thompson looks more like Sebastian Coe in this game, it destroys your joystick and wrists like no other game.
Yes.
Even so, it is still very playable and a lot of fun, especially when everything is timed just right and you make your fastest time or longest throw or jump. Only the game's music stops this from being almost perfect. 8.5 out of 10. Alan Kebab says, Daley Thompson's Decathalon is one of my earliest memories of the Spectrum back in the mid-'80s. I remember honing my key tapping and timing skills in an effort to hear that amazing metal ceremony theme. Honestly, I was in awe every time I heard it. It might as well have been a symphonic orchestra. I have since played the game again this week, and of course games like Olympic Gold on the Mega Drive took the genre further in later years, but it's still a great game for its time, with plenty of replay value. Just had to improve on my performances. Plus, I really enjoyed dipping back into my 5-year-old brain. 9 out of 10.
Damn.
And finally, Pixels at Dawn says, one of the best button-mashing athletic games around. The athlete's mechanic gets around the traditional issue of these games, getting stuck on one event and never progressing. And having 5 events on each side of the tape is like having 2 games in one.
Yeah. It is.
The crowd sounds like an outboard motor.
They do. We didn't cover that. They do sound bizarre.
What was the game we played where it sounded like a toilet flushing?
This crowd, because when you finish the event, it takes the crowd a second to get fired up. And they go. It's the strangest noise.
Yeah. Well, it's like they wait for Daley to raise his arms in victory before they erupt. So, yeah, what a game. Daley Thompson. Next week, Aaron, we're going to play Lords of Midnight.
Oh, I've heard, this is another thing I've heard about, much like this.
Yeah.
I've heard about Lords of Midnight for many, many years. So I'm anxious to give that one a whirl.
We do want to thank our supporters out there, our Patreon supporters, Gary Heather, Eric Nelson, Harbonaut, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Bossman Harrington,
The boss.
and Christopher Hassel. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. If you'd like to support the show, check out patreon.com/OurSinclair. All right, Aaron, there's only one thing left to say, and that's rewind tape.
And press play. Bam. Nice job. Ah,
Good work.
What a
Good
great
work.
game.
Yeah.
By the way, who's that look like? The correct answer is Jordan Peele.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He does
doesn't
look like
he? Yeah.
that. I wonder if he cultivated his look based off Daley Thompson.
If I could have hair like that,
Oh, I would in a second.
because I could get the mustache. If I could get the hair, man, I'd be beating women off of me with a ball bat. They'd be all, you can't. Cause
Even more so than now.
how much action do you think Daley gets on a daily basis?
Well, I don't want to pry into his personal
Listen,
life.
this guy's getting all the action he wants. He's probably married, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's a super athlete. Of course the show's over, but
You want to do an insert disc too?
no, you don't have to
Okay.
do that. But I'm just saying, Olympic heroes, do they still exist?
Yeah.
Like Michael Phelps, remember when he won all those gold medals?
Right.
It got ludicrous after he won. But then all of a sudden he's a big drugged up jerk. Okay?
Right.
And so that's shot. Mm-hmm. The gymnastics team, we were all real proud of them. All their coach is some kind of pedophile jerk.
Right.
They ruined that for us. They ruin everything.
What about the flaming carrot or whatever? The snowboard guy, Shaun White?
Yeah, that's hard for me to get excited about snowboarding.
I know, you're not of that generation.
No, it's got nothing to do with that. That's not a sport. There are sports where you reach a goal, like a measured goal, and then you've got sports that are judged.
So Mary Lou Retton, not a hero in your eyes.
Listen, I'm just telling you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you've got judged sports, it causes. Listen, why is figure skating so goofy? Because it's and there's criteria in all these sports that the scoring is based on, but at the end of the day, they're judged. When you've got a guy like Thompson, Daley Thompson here, who when he does the long jump, they take a tape measure, they measure it, bam, it's in. There's no one judging his form as he jumps. There's something to be said for that.
Sure.
I love Mary Lou Retton, but listen, there were mitigating circumstances. There were no Soviet countries there.
She was from West Virginia, which gave her an edge.
It's a judged sport. People were super patriotic. Now, she had a great, listen, no one's going to say that vault wasn't a 10. Show me a sucker that tells me that it wasn't. And she had a top shelf Olympics. She looked great.
Where was she from in West Virginia?
Fairmont.
Fairmont, okay.
But when you have a measurable sport in the Olympics, there's something there because, like Usain Bolt's the fastest guy on earth. Not because he looks good running or people, because he beat the other time.
Right, it's an objective thing. Absolutely.
And so, but I guess people just don't get off on that stuff anymore. I mean, throughout my lifetime on back, like all the way to the Greeks and the Romans, sportsmen were heralded as like the princes of men. Their feats were godlike. They could excel in areas that a normal person couldn't excel in. And it made them people that were interesting, that were in demand. People would buy, and I read that in Roman times, but they would, when they had the wrestling, the grappling, people would pay for the sweat off these guys. There was an aphrodisiac or something like that because it was so coveted.
Right.
Now, I don't think even people are even that much in the sports anymore. Part of it's because there's so many other things to get into.
Well, there's just so many different sports now.
Right, but not just that. Like my kid doesn't give a jack squat about baseball. He played, like when I was a kid, I knew all the baseball players, I knew all the positions, I knew all the rules. These kids don't know jack squat about baseball. None of them. There's some that care, but most of them don't give a crap. Their parents stuck them out there just like I did. Like Luke doesn't come home and watch baseball or MMA. He doesn't care. It's not bad. It's just
I think, and it's sort of anecdotal based on your son too. I think that there's still kids that care about sports. Is it as big of a thing now that there's video games and esports? Maybe esports is the new sports.
Well, esports is not a sport.
What are you talking about, man?
No, it's a competition.
It's a death. It's a competition to the death.
It's a competition, but it's not a sport. Involves some sort of physicality. That's a competition.
What about this? This is a precision.
Is the spelling bee as a sport? No, it's a competition. That's a difference. So it's okay, and you can call it esports because it's got a nice ring to it. But listen, I could go and play an esport, esports. Here's the hierarchy of sports. Okay, you've got your track athletes, your high level football and baseball and soccer players. They're up here, and you got then the next level down. You've got guys that are like in the pseudo-ish sports. You got your race car drivers, your golfers, and then you've got below that, you've got these guys that stack cups. Mm-hmm. You've got guys that
stackers.
You've got curlers. You know what I'm saying? You've got arm wrestlers, stuff like that. Where like you have to have some skill, but it's not like you have to go and work out all day.
Cigar eaters.
Then you've got there's your Mendoza line of sports.
Okay.
Then here's the stuff
right below arm wrestling is where it falls off.
Then you've got your people that play like competitive croquet, right?
You're saying, wait a minute. You're saying croquet, a sport where you actually do some kind of physical. Do you even understand how to play croquet?
No. I'm not saying it's not physical.
I can't believe you're putting that below arm wrestling.
Arm wrestling, yeah, I'd put it because you have to actually physically prepare your arms. That's my difference. Croquet. And it's just like curling, you have to have some skills. I'm not saying curling doesn't, but keep in mind now, this is all above esports. Okay. But you've got your croquet, and I would also put badminton more up the line.
Up the line.
That's fair. Right?
Okay.
Because I mean, you ever watch those guys, or ping pong?
It's a very athletic sport.
Right. But then you've got, here's the croquet and your foosball types.
Okay. How about competitive billiards? Where do you put that? Snooker?
That's in the same zone. Right? Because those guys have skill, but they're just blobby. And darts. Yeah. That's another one, all right? Then, and by the way, cricket and Australian football, they're all way up here.
Sure.
I don't want to shortchange anybody because those guys are studs.
Rugby,
swimming, all that stuff. Then here's your line. Okay, that's the end of real sports. Then we're moving into like the e-sports. I play Doom. I play what's that game that everybody in Korea plays? StarCraft 2. And not to downplay that because you're moving into a mental area, a mental game. The line doesn't mean these guys are all great and these guys suck. The line is like mental. It's just like this is a physical aspect of it with some mental. This is all mental. Now there is an exception to the rule. Marathon players that say play. These guys that play like Ladybug for 36 hours. Okay, I'm gonna give those guys a pass.
Okay,
they get to come up here. Okay. Everyone else is down here. That's the way I look at it.
It's funny we're talking about this. I just heard about this today. In Texas somewhere, they're building a new $50 million esports arena. And this thing is going to thing is going to seat, tens of thousands of people. They're going to have huge screens, up on all sides, huge Jumbotron style screens, and also suites for all of the streamers and the simulcasters and all that stuff too. What do you think about that?
In all honesty, do you remember the story? I'm telling you who this guy was. There was a arcade players league that started in the 80s, and they had a big show in DC, and they booked this big arena, and then they had the show. No one showed up for this thing, and that was the end of that. They didn't pay these suckers. They had to get to fly themselves home. They were bummed.
Yeah.
I remember where I heard the story.
It's like the Fire Festival arcade game.
Now, I know in the UK or in Korea and some other places that esports are a big deal, and from a viewer's perspective. And I will admit, I have sat down and watched very famous Street Fighter fights, or maybe some Tetris. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but the truth of the matter is, these are competitions you can watch from home. Without paying money to see them, and you're not going to see anything happen at this show that you can't watch on your monitor. It's not loud, you can watch baseball at home, but the difference between baseball at home and baseball at the stadium is a large gap. You know that.
Sure, the atmosphere.
Now, can they replicate that in an arena? I don't know. I saw some guys who had an arena sport where they raced drones. Did you see these guys? It was the drone racing
league. Yeah.
And they didn't draw anybody to these things. And the drones were something you could physically watch. They could crash. They could hit stuff. They could hit each other. I just wonder if someone's going to pay to watch guys play Madden or something, because you're going to draw the hardest of the hardcores to see that sort of thing. Like I like original Mortal Kombat 2. I would like to see two good players throw down, but am I paying $20, driving to the arena, parking my car, paying $15 for that, eating out that night, sitting down and spending 3 hours watching that? Probably not. And I love video games. What do you think?
Well, I think we're living in a new age. And I think we've got people that are real into watching streamers, but also people that are desperate for any kind of real world social interaction because they're not getting it through the usual channels anymore. So I think that this type of outlet will give people, you know, if you look at things like, this is already happening. Like, do you know what the International is?
It's a competition. Right?
It's a big competition for this game called Dota 2. Okay, and this thing draws 1,000 people every year. You know, they have it all over the United States in different places every year, and I think it's actually all over the world, but it's in the U.S. sometimes. So there's people to come to this thing. I think the question remains: is this going to be like a football team where you can fill the arena every week? You know, because if you're spending $50 million on this thing, you're going to want to have it filled, you know, fairly regularly.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
And you're betting on, see, here's something else I think. I think you sort of, when you said it, you were right. A lot of people don't leave their house. And so, and because people have become accustomed to watching their movies at home and having the entertainment at home. And so it makes me wonder, I mean, it's a hassle to go to an arena. You know that. I see a lot of wrestling. And I'll skip a show just because it's too big a hassle for me to go. If it's not a really good show. So what's that mean? If it's a really good show, I'll go. If it's not a really good show, I won't go. I think it's the same thing with this esports stuff. If you've got something coming out, if I were the guy booking this and promoting it, I would have esports and something. You know what I mean? That's how I would do it. I would have a separate event. To go to give you something else to look at. That's just me.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys. Thanks a whole bunch.
Sorry I didn't thank all the people in the chat on either show.
Thank you, Gary, by the way, for those lovely things. And thank you, LaRon, for my book. We really appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, and thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Bye.